Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another very special Ace and Ectar Heroes of the Storm casting podcast. We are here for Division B Grand Finals between You Are Not Alone and the Saltscale Mrgles. Welcome, Ace.
Welcome, Ectar. We're doing I think, second Grand Finals for us. It's a lot of fun. It's been good doing the casting podcast throughout the year again, where we talk about random things, and occasionally there's a Heroes of the Storm game in the background.
More often than not, there is. But in this case, we're not actually starting off with a Heroes of the Storm game. We are instead starting off with some interviews that were conducted by our very own Valkymer on the Late Night Face Check. So we're going to be bringing you two of those right now.
Welcome, everybody, to the 5-minute face check. My name is Valkymer. We are sitting here once again with Majesty and his gigantic green juice jug, coming up to the grand finals of Division B. Majesty, how does it feel to be going into the grand finals?
It feels great. It really does. Very excited for it. Looking forward to it. We've been prepping as best we can for a team that just had a new roster, so it's hard to prep for a team with a new 5-man, but we're doing the best we can.
Now, with last week, I think it was, when you and I talked, you said really this was the first time many of the players on your team had been into the playoffs. How have you seen, just in the 3 weeks that you've played, how have nerves developed? Are we getting more nervous as we're getting to the grand finals? Do we think, hey, we've done this before, we can do it again? What's going on there?
I think, at least for me, I can't speak for the other two, obviously. I think the finals was almost more nervous for the finals. Wording is hard. Than the grand finals, just because we won our division. These were the teams we faced all season. It's this is for me, at least personally, the grand finals is more of a for fun show match than the big climax at the end.
I wonder if Saltscale feels the same.
It's just a perspective thing, I guess. As someone who's mostly played in A, to where the finals is the final.
Yeah. Well, so you're coming into this. How many victories do you have in a row now?
Including forfeits, which probably shouldn't count. It's 29 map wins in a row, 0 losses in official play.
I don't think that we have ever seen an NGS record to match that.
We kind of figured at this point.
Are you the 1984 Miami Dolphins going into the Super Bowl?
I don't know sports ball.
Okay, you don't want to be because they lost to my Niners, but they had a perfect season and then had the Super Bowl in front of them. Are you treating this one as granted? Are you going in ready to just destroy people? How are you prepping for this match?
We have scrimmed 5 or 6 times since the finals, and we've just faced the best teams we could get our hands on every single time. So that's how we've been prepping. We've not been laying back and sleeping on at all.
You did reference to me off camera that sleep may not be the highest priority at the moment.
No. We just finished the scrim. It is currently midnight, 12:32 a.m. Eastern time, which is where I am. I have to get up in under 6 hours for work tomorrow. By the time the grand finals come, from when this interview is being recorded, I will be lucky to have achieved 10 hours of total sleep.
Yikes. Well, may you have a long authorized lunch to be able to nap perhaps in a car or perhaps a hollow tree, as it may be. Going back to the movie Enchanted. Now, some will say that You Are Not Alone is misplaced. How would you answer that comment?
I would disagree. Obviously. I think there's a couple of people on the team that think we should have been placed at the bottom of A over the top of B. But based on where we were at the beginning of the season, we were definitely a B team. I think if we had faced Deviled Kegs, Pro, Lurk Patrol, even Soak, I think over half the division, if we had faced them week 1, week 2, we would have lost because we didn't have the scouting we had. And the scouting for us is a lot of why we've been doing well over, I'd say, like just mechanically being better. I think it's more of just having that raw information. The first team we faced was Spooky Ghost. We had just faced them in Heroes Lounge with a different 5-man, so we already had all the scouting. We already knew their players, what they played. So instead of starting at the beginning of the season with no information, we started the season basically with a full season of information on the first team that we faced. And so the week 1 team was the team that dropped, so we didn't have to play week 1. Week 2, we faced a team that we had already had a bunch of scouting on. Week 3, by that point, you already have 2 weeks worth of information. So if you just aim to take them to similar maps or the same maps, you already kind of have that know-how of what they're going to be going for. So I think at the beginning of the season, we were definitely, I think, a Division B team. We have grinded and practiced our butts off to up our game. And I feel like it's more hard work to get to where we were than it necessarily was just a misplacement.
Got it. Well, this has been the 5-minute face check. May the best team win. Good luck out there. Welcome everybody out to the 5-minute face check. My name is Valcomer. I am here with Dankstrom of Saltscale Mrgles. And here we are about to play for the Division B Grand Finals. Dank, how are you feeling?
Doing good, and the Saltscale Mrgles, that whole Mrgle organization is kind of defunct now. So if you just want to refer to us as the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, that's fine by me. Idioms may have a problem with that, but I'm fine.
Yeah, I liked the old name too, but yes, the name of the Saltscale and all of their sister teams throughout the divisions definitely caused me some great chuckles. Though the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit I thought was a great chuckle-worthy name too. So, but going into a high-stakes game, how are nerves throughout the team?
Pretty relaxed. We haven't practiced all season really, so we usually get on an hour or two before and play a brawl or so, and just play to have some fun. So I don't think nerves are in it any factor whatsoever.
So for the Coastal Finals last week, I would also say that your teammate who I interviewed was very relaxed. Like that just seems to be the way of the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit is to stay relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, everybody at this point has mostly played together on and off for a while now. I know I've known Eason G in Synchrony for a few years. I've played with Idioms in a prior season. Alan, our support player and flex player a bit anyways, a little bit newer to me, but he's been playing with Idioms and Synchrony this whole season. So it's kind of a mishmash team together, as I'm sure everybody's heard. The Saltscale Mrgles had a number of roster turnover issues. I didn't even start playing on the team until about the last third of the season or so.
Yeah, such that it was even posted out to NGS and something about the roster changes. So
yeah, it went through a little bit of waves throughout all that, but we're ended up in a fairly similar spot to where we ended up last playoffs. Anyways, last season we had a number of different roster turnover issues, and similar thing this season before I really joined the team, and but happy to be here and happy to be in playoffs again.
Yeah, no, playing for the grand finals is the hope of us all, right? So congratulations on making it thus far, and I think it's going to be just an incredible matchup. I've seen a little bit of both teams. I've been lucky enough to do a couple of the interviews, and just some fantastic players, some great synergy on top of that, and both teams are scary. Like, I'm glad you're in B. Leave my Division C alone. I don't need all that scariness. So
yeah, no, I don't think either of our teams both. Well, let me put it this way: I think either team is barely in B. I know at least the other team should probably been in A anyways, and our team is probably borderline A. Once we ended the season, anyways, I know the roster at the beginning of the season was definitely a solid mid-B team, and it changed over the season. But yeah, I don't think you have anything to worry about us moving down to C.
Good. We like it there in the memeville that we call Division C. So anything that you can point at that's been either a particularly strong practice with the team or maybe a surprise that you feel like you've worked on? You don't have to share the surprise, but are you feeling like it's standard play? Are you thinking that it's a couple pocket picks that have been hidden?
I think both teams are going to have various strategies they're going to pull out. Some you've seen before, some you maybe haven't. I don't think you go to the grand finals. I don't think all 5 games are just going to be standard compositions whatsoever. I think both teams will probably have a few things up their sleeves and to try out that'll be interesting, particularly with how drafts go. I think a strength of our team is generally the flexibility. A lot of our players can play in almost any of the roles, and we
Nice.
move around as needed just so we have that flexibility in the character selection in the draft phase.
If it goes to game 5, do you think we can convince all the players to play on Haunted Mines for the final game?
No, I did ask the other team if they just want to do ARAM for the last grand finals. Wipeout said he was down. I don't think the rest of his team agreed to that, but it wasn't bad.
I realize that I'm a bit of an outlier with Haunted Mines, but it's hilarious now with the movement speed changes.
Oh, is it? I haven't even touched that map since it went out of rotation years ago.
It's just so small that now with the movement speed changes, like you can't take a camp before the other team's on you.
Oh, it would be interesting. And camp times are pretty important on that map anyway, so that'd be good.
So, no, I think both teams are well prepared. We are at our 5 minutes. I probably shouldn't have brought up all my silliness, but enjoy it. It's a great time, and I'm excited to watch this absolute brawl that will be the Division B Grand Finals. Thanks for being here, Dank.
Well, thanks for having us.
Looking forward to a great match.
Alrighty, thank you, Valkymer, for providing the intro videos, and we're looking forward to getting an outro video with one of those captains here in the next hour and a half to 3 hours, depending on how the teams perform.
Fair enough. All right, well, we've left these guys waiting. You ready to start this up?
I think we finally are. Let the captains know that we are, in fact, good to go. They've been sitting around just kind of waiting for us. I always feel a little bit bad for that. But what about our team name? What does that mean?
Do they want to be called the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit? They want to be called Saltscale Mrgles. Regardless, I think we're...
Anywho, we haven't actually mentioned it yet. We have had a couple of map picks and bans. We had the coin toss won by Saltscale Mrgles. They opted for first hero pick. You're Not Alone banned out Dragonshire. Saltscale banned out Towers of Doom. You Are Not Alone banned out Brax's Holdout, and Saltscale Mrgles banned out Alterac Pass. You Are Not Alone took us to map number 1, Volskaya Foundry, as we go ahead and rename the team literally right now as it's happening.
Oh, I'm sure that'll cause no confusion whatsoever to anybody coming in.
All.
It was like, You're Not Alone versus, when did the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit get here?
I don't actually have a caster logo for them, so it's going to say as...
God. We might have one in some of the old caster packages from old seasons.
I'm sure that we do, but you know what?
Oh.
That's okay.
It is, but nonetheless, the perfectionist in me makes me want to go, I want to do this. So. Alrighty, well, in that case, can we, let's see if the team's already ready to go. Whew. Alright, didn't think the spiciest part of this cast was going to go ahead and be the pre-game lobby, but here we are.
In before we have the first of many disconnects.
Oh no, Ectar.
I also have a wood desk, so hopefully none of that. We just want to get into a nice standard series here as we get into our first map, Volskaya Foundry, again as picked by You Are Not Alone. This is actually a relatively highly played map for both teams, and that's always what you want to see going into the first map of a given series.
Yeah, it's going to give you a lot of information on how these teams really like to play overall, what their comforts are, and just kind of the default. It's a good level playing field to then eventually branch out and make some deviations from, but it's a good centering piece to start on.
I definitely agree. Always interested to see how teams decide to go with their bans in the first game, because they haven't lost to anything yet. They haven't been scared by anything personally. It's all on their scouting or on what they have acknowledged that they don't play well against.
Yeah, and to be fair, scouting against You're Not Alone, as Ultimate Mosh Pit does have to do, is difficult at best, because, you know, sometimes when you're scouting, you want to find what the teams are good at, but you also want to see what's caused them issues. They haven't lost, which is going to be like a pervasive theme throughout the evening, that they haven't lost yet, and so they don't have any of these obvious things. You have to go into the VODs and see which teams, which maps, which compositions gave them struggle.
Yeah, because although they haven't lost, there have been games that have looked very close. There have been team fights that JOHANNA have lost, and there's definitely been times that they've been behind. They've just always managed to clutch it out and come back. We did have the Jaina getting banned out for Saltscale Mrgles, and that's not a huge surprise, as Jaina is one of, if not the most played heroes for You Are Not Alone.
The most.
The most. Yeah, it's Jaina, Greymane, and Blaze, I believe, are all 8 out of 29 games played.
Yep, Sylvanas banned out by You're Not Alone, a reasonable pickup as well. Just looking, Saltscale, or Ultimate Mosh Pit has played here a whole bunch this season, has a lot of varying compositions, but has taken HANZO on two occasions, it seems, earlier in the season, so we'll see synchrony.
And I totally hit the wrong hotkey, so they just saw our beautiful faces and the map bans during that whole set of hero bans.
That's okay.
Twitch chat 1 minute from now, I'm sorry.
Fair enough. You know, I mean, it's a radio cast for draft. It isn't that difficult. I guess we didn't say that ALARAK was banned, but, you know...
It's true. Or Mrgles.
Not important. Or Mrgles.
I would like to point out Sylvanas, #1 most played hero from the Saltscale Mrgles, so definitely targeting the comfort picks for the enemy teams, although still looking to pick up a couple of comfort picks, as Greymane is also very highly played by the Saltscale by the real Ultimate Mosh Pit. I'm going to keep
this is going to be great.
Oh, yeah.
They've done a great job. The real losers in this cast are us. No matter what happens tonight. We did see the Jimmy Raynor picked up. Raynor has been an increasingly popular pick since his essentially baseline. He was basically baseline buffed. All of his level 1s got buffed, which is pretty good. So he's been a mainstay for a while. Cho banned out. That's a good ban, but I would have preferred Gall.
Ditto.
So, yeah, I mean, with the Ana Raynor, Cho'Gall is a reasonable pickup, so good on a real Ultimate Mosh Pit of doing that. Nice. We're doing great here. Doing great.
We definitely have done this nearly a dozen times this season. Though, to be fair, we've had technical issues probably in about half those.
Yeah. I just mean with these teams changing on us, I'm already like, okay, I've been preparing for Saltscale and all this for the last, like, you know, couple, just mentally preparing it, all the stuff. Now it's just all out the window, but nonetheless, we have the fire combo picked up for You're Not Alone. Got Blaze and Kael'thas.
I'm happy we're seeing the WHITEMANE. I've noticed that they've played her a couple of times, and as a healer main, I just don't get it. I'm sorry. They've played her 3 times. I'm pretty sure she's got a 100% win rate for it. And I don't understand. She's got good burst prevention, admittedly, and that is maybe why they're picking her up, because Lucio was banned out. But I'm really interested to see what this pick ends up doing for Saltscale Mrgles, as we do have Wipeout playing the Yrel that I think he's become somewhat infamous for at this point.
Yeah, Yrel was... I believe she was buffed like 2 patches ago or something.
Yes.
And slightly bugged, but that was fixed. Now she's like crept into popularity, especially with people like Liam at the Grandmaster level. showing that Urel is actually just utterly terrifying when played properly. So,
Oh yeah,
you know,
get
we'll
those E
see.
resets. I've seen a couple of Masters or GM players use E to get behind a wall with full charge, do like 1Q, and then just DE back out with the reduced cooldown. It's terrifying and amazing if it's on your team.
Wow, that is yeah. We played with, I can't remember his username in game now, but I know it's Liam. On Twitch or whatever, who's that ridiculous Urel in Storm League. But yeah, that's like my baseline.
Big fan of the best friend Carbot portraits coming up from the side of the Saltscale Mrgles. Who we actually have spawning in on the right hand side in the red trunks. They have Eason G playing the Greymanes, Synchrony playing the HANZO, Idioms playing Cho, Dengstrom is playing the Johanna, and Alankia playing the Whitemane.
And in the blue trunks on the left side, we have You're Not Alone. We've got Wipeout playing Urel, Patience playing Ana, Majesty on Raynor. I just fizzed on Blaze, and Yonners on Kael'thas.
Got the high Twitch chat coming out from Dengstrom. Hi Mom coming out from Alankia. No one actually shouting out Volkamer's mom, what a shame. And because I'm super interested, Whitemane picking up Pretty the Frail on level 1, which I don't think is the standard pickup. I think it's the E does 20% more damage, is more common, so even more interesting things coming out from that first pick.
Yep. We have a scatter build coming out from HANZO, who actually got 4 of 5 possible hits on Wipeout in the opening bit, so already stacking that quest quite well. Anything else of note to see at the start? Not particularly.
Yeah, otherwise, fairly standard picks coming out from both sides, it looks like.
Maybe Eye of the Tiger on Chen. I don't recognize the talent immediately, but it looks like the oh, it's just more damage, so seems like a good talent for the offlane to me.
And picking up the Sleep Dart quest on level 1 is becoming more common on Ana. I don't know if you can necessarily say it's the go-to, but it's not uncommon at any mean.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So we do see the standard 1-4 rotations coming out with the camp rotation at the 1 minute mark for Eason G and Dinkstrom, for Ultimate Mosh Pit, Majesty and Patience, for You're Not Alone, as the rotations slow way down due to wave clear deficiencies.
Yeah, but we do have You're Not Alone getting back into the rotations just a little bit faster, as they do have the superior wave clear with the power of Kael'thas now getting back into lanes. HANZO has pretty good wave clear eventually. At level 1, not so much.
Yeah, it depends on his level 4 though. He might opt not for the explosive Q, which I think is really good wave clear. I think you get the scatter, deals more damage to minions, monsters, and mercenaries as well on 4, but I don't know if that makes for reliable wave clear like the Q does. He does go for the explosive arrows.
We do have I Just Fizz going in for a pretty big charge, and a nice Kael'thas combo coming out, and is going to draw first blood on Greymane.
Nice little pickup in rotation. Obviously, that's going to allow You're Not Alone to take control over this region camp, and they'll be able to, more likely than not, unless there's some big plays coming out, let them secure that early.
HANZO did go into the explosive arrows on 4, so looking to supplement the wave clear that their team has normally.
Yeah. Actually rotated Wipeout up just to make sure that they could confirm that region camp. So it did take a while, and Greymane was headed back up to the point.
I want to point out that we have Hand of Freedom coming out from Urel, which is a very good talent. I don't think it's the standard, but it is a very powerful short duration cleanse on slows and roots.
Yeah. We also have Martyrdom coming out for Urel, which I haven't seen. Or Urel, that is Whitemane. Martyrdom from Whitemane. Ectar, comments?
This talent I very rarely see chosen. It's normally the auto attack talent, I believe, on 4.
I think so.
Extending the duration of giving you longer range on your auto attacks, and then you pair that at level 7 with auto attacks increasing the duration of your Zeal, but it gives for a lot more burst healing with this talent choice, which again is what Urel can be really good at.
Yeah, complementing what she's good at. That is a nice thing to to do. Here comes the kind of second part of the engagement. Alankia taking a lot of damage. G is going to go in, try and put some pressure on the Yanners, spreads the bomb to Synchrony, and that's going to be a lot of problems for Ultimate Mosh Pit as they're having to disengage off the point as their health bars are incredibly low. But they did force out the Biotic Emitter from Yana, but it doesn't matter because the Triglov's already picked up, so fast 100-0 there.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll see one team back off, tap up, maybe even Hark all the way out and then come back in, but Yana just held the point a little bit too firmly for Saltscale, for the real Ultimate Mosh Pit to actually try and come in and re-engage.
Yep, so you see the typical play that's done on this map. You're Not Alone rotates into the top lane, is going to go ahead and finish off the top well to prepare them for Triglov Punisher Mrgles. That'll be here in about 3 minutes, and however long it takes for the last bit to go away.
Yeah, I want to point out that Kael'thas actually went trait on 7, which I basically never see taken, and as not a Kael'thas player, what does that indicate to us, Ace?
I didn't know there was a trait on 7 for a very, very long time. It could be, well, let's talk about Greymane taking a lot of damage, actually. Gets caught up by Wipeout, rotating up again to confirm the kill with a good knockback. Did go into that Holy Avenger at level 7, so we could be seeing some of those really cool plays that we're mentioning in the draft screen.
And we do have You Are Not Alone coming in. Having secured that kill, they pretty much get the free invade onto this because they did have all 5 come down, and there's really nothing that Saltscale, the Saltscale Mosh Pit can actually do about that at this point, so... Interesting that we have Yanners now taking point in the bottom lane, probably just allowing for the map rotation to get straightened out by the rest of his team, although we do have Wipeout still hanging out in the mid lane, heading towards the top lane, perhaps. As you do have the level 10s getting picked up, we have a Pyroblast, which is an interesting pickup.
So, I was about to say with the level 7, it gives 15% spell power if you hit with 2 auto attacks after pressing trait. And so then you go ahead and launch the Pyroblast, or even launch the Pyroblast and then go ahead and get your 2 auto attacks in. And you get 15% spell power. And on Pyroblast, which really does like 60-70% of a hero's health, that can actually help confirm a lot of the kills. So I think that's a reasonable thing, but it is more all-in on the Pyroblast. You do have Nano with it too, so it might be just one-shot Pyro Bomb.
Yeah, and spell power does still add additively, I believe.
Yes.
So that 15 plus Nano's 30 is a really significant extra chunk of damage coming out onto a Pyroblast, if you can time it right, because of the way that spell power affects abilities when they hit, not when they're cast.
Which is weird to me, but you know...
We have an engagement coming out from Idioms, but disengage pretty well from Blaze, as we do have now a lot of damage coming out kind of onto both teams, but neither team's actually in too bad of a spot. We did have Idioms getting put to a decently bad spot, but is able to kick back over. And a lot of buttons pressed. Not a whole lot came of it for either team. I think slight favor to the Saltscale Mrgles as they were able to take out most of their opponent's camp. And I think the ults that they have remaining are more broadly useful.
Yep, and they did end a little bit better on the ult exchange, as Greymane's ult, not a very long cooldown, is going to match Jimmy Raynor's Air Misha, but yeah, it's a relatively even trade, not exactly what Ultimate Mosh Pit we're looking for with that, but that's what they get as second point unlocks. Ultimate Mosh Pit is going to go ahead, Real Ultimate Mosh Pit is going to grab the first capture of the point as You're Not Alone goes ahead and opts to pick up level 13, a very reasonable decision. So,
yeah, I think this is a really smart play coming out from Yana. They're also going to use this time to pick up this bottom item because they know that they just got the time to do it, and there's really nothing that Real Ultimate Mosh Pit can do about it. So they're going to be able to go in onto top lane, up a talent tier, up in items, and probably just take a really good fight if... and this is actually going to go pretty badly if, because Chen is still in the bottom lane, so they really need to just disengage from this point, which they have done very successfully.
Yep, the only thing is that they might, with that rotation down to the turret, it might allow the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit to grab level 13 and make a fight happen, but with everybody completely vacating top lane, You're Not Alone's just going to go ahead and take this free top lane fort, and that's going to be a nice avenue for the Punisher, the Triglav Protector, to push along. Should they earn it, which so far it seems like it is, but so it's a little scary for the Ultimate Mosh Pit. Is they're going to have to respond to this top lane in more just immediate terms.
Yeah, as we do see 3 members still in the bottom lane, but 2 back to make sure that they can defend this keep. I don't know that 2 people can actually defend this keep if they make a concentrated effort onto it, and it looks like they really are. They still have a minion wave here, and we do have a 3rd person back now. Big Hanzo arrow coming in to try and get some damage, followed up with a jet propulsion to try and disengage. They do end up saving that keep, and they kept Green Lane in the bottom lane, so they'll probably be able to pick up that fort eventually. That is a very injured Hanzo, not dead. I think the fort will still go down to the bottom lane, but this keep is definitely forfeit, and I don't want JOHANNA to try and end here, but you know, they could maybe try to end here if they get a couple of kills. And that's Idiom's taking a lot of damage, but is able to get out successfully with the Panda Petals, and actually go in really hard onto Yanners, who is going to fall, followed by several members of his team. JOHANNA falls as well, but that was a really exceptionally well-taken fight from the side of the real Ultimate Mosh Pit.
Yeah, and they needed that. And losing a keep roughly at the 10-minute mark, not exactly what you want to do, but that's how you have to play against the Triglav Protector. The Triglav only requires 2 people, and only has 1 defensive ability to give everybody a big shield that is kind of tough to use, actually. So, if you're just able to engage 5v3 past the Protector, you can really make things happen. A lot of people are scared of doing that, but it is, I think, one of the most effective ways to try and make a comeback on this map.
I have to agree, and it appears that the real Ultimate Mosh Pit tends to agree as well. We do have Wipeout going in for the hard engage out onto Synchrony, but they are able to get out with the free Hanzo button. Idiom's able to walk away as well, only taking a little bit of bomb damage. And it's still not a great position for the real Ultimate Mosh Pit, but they're in a better position than they were before. They were able to catch up by almost 2 levels of XP from that team fight, and get their first significant building of the game.
Yeah, and that's not nothing. The next objective is in the bottom lane, so that does open up an easier lane than for JOHANNA. So that's not nothing. If they can turn a team fight like they did, but do it on 5v5 grounds, not 5v3 grounds, they have themselves a win condition opened up, or a possible win condition, as death timers will be like in the 55-second range-ish by the time the next objective comes around.
So since we've last looked at talents, and it has been a hot minute, we do see Kael'thas is going into full bomb build with the Ignite on 16 and the reduced cooldowns on 13. Blaze going into Jet Propulsion on 13 and 16. We've got a little bit of an engage attempt maybe coming out from Wipeout. Not engaging too hard, just going to make sure that they can secure the support as they see Grammys in the top lane. Not really a lot that they can do about it. And Hanzo going into the piercing arrows, which is pretty standard. Nice damage coming out onto Majesty, but is going to get healed up pretty easily by just tapping. And both teams now at their 16 just kind of jockeying for positioning, having to clear top lane repeatedly for the real Ultimate Mosh Pit, but just trying to find something.
Yeah, Ectar, let's talk real quick. There are no big fights about this WHITEMANE build. We do have a lowered cooldown for Inquisition and the Searing Lash, which means that she does have the ability to get those roots out more often, which could be fairly significant, as providing CC as a support is very, very important.
Yeah, those are the talents that I normally go into.
Right.
Idiom's into a bit of a position there. I think we had the whiff on the first bullet there. We're doing a lot of damage coming out onto both sides. Hanzo arrow hitting out onto Mrgles. She's able to heal a ton of damage off of her ultimate. Idiom's picking up the item. Dextrum is going to fall. Majesty falls. 2 for 1 so far. Idiom's is able to pop the Panda Petals. We do have Wipeout still fairly low, but I believe Idiom's already used the jump, so not going to be able to secure that kill. We've got the Pyroblast coming out onto Synchrony, is going to survive. Idiom survives as well. They do end up picking up the item, but they end up trading out 2 kills, or rather 2 deaths to their opponent's 1 death. So, good position for later in the game, but it will give You Are Not Alone position on the bottom objective first.
Yeah, you know, there's, first off, tons of value from Wipeout's Hero there. I think the absorb is like, what, 50% of the damage absorbed goes into the health? Yeah.
Yeah, and she healed basically from empty to about 3/4, so
Yeah,
it took
it was
more than
very
her health
close
bar
to-
worth of damage in healing.
Yeah. Actually insane amounts of damage absorbed there, and I think that's what turned the fight, is just all the cooldowns being used to heal Yrel. So, yeah, that was, that's pretty wild there, but nonetheless, still an even fight, roughly, maybe 4% scaling or so. Coming down here onto the third point, Real Ultimate Mosh Pit is going to have to make something happen, as they have about 15 seconds to go ahead and force Yana to vacate.
However, and is very important to note, 3 catapults in the top lane are going to start barreling into their core after this next minion wave. We do have Yana coming up here to take their own camp to get a little bit of item parity, as this will put them even on turrets, but down 1 heal camp. We do have HANZO is backed to make sure they can get that. And we actually have them full disengaging at this point. Never mind. We have Dengstrom staying on point because they're JOHANNA and they still have a fort here. But HANZO does need to clear out these catapults before he can really attempt to go back into the bottom lane. And that does give Yana the opportunity to go in for a bit of a 5v4.
Yep. Yeah, I wonder if Yana's call was to either let the catapults force pressure or to try and get 20. They can't get 20 because there's only about 15 seconds either team has to get the entire trigger off. But now there is, again, essentially 4 catapults in the top lane. So the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit is going to have to take this team fight, and they're going to have to take it quickly. Arrow comes out onto Aegis Fizz. He gets a large jet propulsion and deals a lot of damage, stunning most of the team. ESG is diving on the backline, but he's going to get taken out first. Idiom's going in with the Panda Pals. Is going to deal a lot of damage to Patience. Patience gets taken out to make it a 1-for-1 trade. Dangstrom going to get Pyroblasted and eliminated. And now it's down to the chase. Idioms dives in to try and preserve the rest of his team. Panda Pals is on long cooldown. That is a lot of stagger damage. But it does kill the Jimmy, which is not nothing for sure. And again, Yana gets the better side of the trade, but only by 1 kill.
Yep, and we do have Alankia and Synchrony back in time to stop these catapults from doing any significant damage to the core. However, the Triglav is going to get some very significant damage onto the rest of their buildings.
Yeah, that's the real problem here. Blaze loaded into the Triglav in the bottom lane. Kael'thas sieging both in the mid, now rotating down to the bottom lane. He doesn't have the Fury of the Sunwell on 16, as mentioned earlier, although he does have Flamethrower at 20 now. But he will not be able to cast the Super Siege double flame strikes that can just tear down buildings instantly. So he's going to hop in and do siege damage through the gunner slot.
Yeah, HANZO actually not opting for his level 20 quite yet. Is going to end up being play of the game. So I believe relatively standard, except for maybe the Nano Infusion is a bit weird, but still a very fine ult upgrade, as we have seen them jumping onto Kael'thas already, so being able to give him some extra survivability while chunking out more damage is pretty good.
Ectar, you know what I want to see?
What do you want to see?
I want to see a Nano Infusion with all the spell power buffs from Kael'thas, instantly full heal of Kael'thas. I want to see this happen.
Ooh, I like that.
It could be Dove. Get Nano Infused, you Pyroblast the main target, boom, full heal, no dive. Fight's coming out though. Alankia initiates with Dragon there again. Patience again taken out first in the fight as the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit is selling out for these hits. Oh my gosh, the Pyroblast obliterates Synchrony in the back though on the HANZO. 2-for-2 trade already. Idioms is going to have to retreat, and with the healer down for Yana and up for the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, they are going to be able to, or had a chance to push her advantage, but I mean, look. You know?
Greater than 100% of my hit points.
Yeah, so 3,018 health is HANZO's health currently. It did 3,275 damage. Yes.
Seems pretty good.
Seems fair and balanced currently. That's what all the spell power stacking does.
Yeah.
Anyone was questioning it. One-shot pyros.
Reminds me of the old days of World of Warcraft. Actually playing, doing PvP, where you just have 2 fire mages and they just go immediately pyroblast one target and probably kills them. Turns that 2v2 into a 2v1 real quick.
Sure does. That seems like a good cheese. But yeah. Yeah, that's that's the good info right there. Region can't picked up for You're Not Alone, as you seem to just be stocking up on items and looking for another good fight, waiting for the one-shot pyro to come off cooldown, and yeah, seems good.
Yeah, obviously map advantage goes to You're Not Alone, as they do have all of their keeps still up and most of their forts as well. And you really have to pin that onto them just taking more advantageous positions when they get an advantage. Because they've been getting they got the advantages earlier in the game, so they were able to get an advantage and then use that to get buildings, whereas when Saltscale has had advantageous fights, they take that time to clean up the map, which is what they need to do. It's just unfortunate that that's what they need to do.
Yep.
As we do have Real Ultimate Mosh Pit looking for another pretty heavy engage, not going to find it quite yet, as Yana just kind of content not to give it to them because they're ahead.
Yeah, one of Yana's strengths, I think, just playing against them and just watching them play throughout these entire playoffs is exactly what you said. They're always ahead, which allows them to take less damage from enemy victories and more damage from and deal more damage on their own. But also, they manipulate when you can and cannot take fights better than most teams I've seen, and that's not nothing. That is very significant in terms of just never taking a bad fight.
We did have the basic ability Curse Bullet come in, doing some damage to I Just Fizzed. Does get healed up pretty well from Ana. But we do have the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit taking first position onto the point here. That's such a short cooldown after 20.
10-second cooldown.
Yeah, it's
but
actually
30% damage. That's crazy.
But Idiom's providing that huge shield and also providing it to his allies is just preventing so much damage. We do have the damage coming out into Urel. Is going to pop the Absorb, but that's going to be Jimmy Rayner as the first one to fall, as we do have Kel'Thas falling very quickly thereafter. Wipeout, no ultimate, is going to survive. It's going to get them out, but it's not going to get their Ana out as well, as we have the 3-for-0 going in favor of the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit. They're a little bit too low to just try and go end, but it means that they can stay on the point, take this item, and split off HANZO to remove the pressure in the top lane.
Yeah, and HANZO's got the global play of the game, so he is able to come back in and be able to fight, and that's really big. They're going to take this Protector, and again, as we mentioned, this bottom lane is the only one that has taken damage for You're Not Alone, but it could become a major factor here very, very soon. Protector is kind of just dancing around in the middle. I think they're waiting for Chen to regroup, but oh man, they've got to push onto this bottom lane and see they should be able to get the keep, and then we'll see if they take a good fight and are able to push on the core.
Yep. Their Ana and Kel'Thas are coming back up just now. Even so, this keep probably going to go down regardless of what Yana wants to do, but you know, they've got a team comp that can run past this pretty decently, although it's going to be hard to get a lot of value. Alankia has been playing very far back, so not going to get a ton of value out of that. HANZO definitely staying back to clear, make sure that the enemy team can't do anything, and also has that play of the game available. Wipeout did try to engage a little bit. I think that's going to be their Eon cooldown, but that might have gotten the reset. And they're really just looking to play nice and safe and just poke this keep out and not actually engage too hard on it.
I don't even know if they can poke this keep out. That's going to be incredible. I mean, as I was saying, You're Not Alone, just able to not take a bunch of damage. Now here comes the full int almost onto the keep. Play of the game comes in from the HANZO to make it a 5v5. So the one-shot combo is down for You're Not Alone. Fighting breaks out again as Wipeout and Fizzed are the targets of most of the damage. Jimmy is actually taken out first in this fight, along with You Just Fizz, I Just Fizz getting very low. He gets taken out as well, and do we see the streak of immortality come to an end, Ectar?
I would like to see it, but it's not happening quite yet. We have Alankia, doesn't have enough mana to heal very well, and we do have Greymane that goes out. Alankia is at 2-digit hit points. Denkstorm's nice and full, but Synchrony's pretty low, and I think they got to get out of here. Wipeout,
Sure do.
If Wipeout gets within range of Alankia, they're just dead. They did
Yeah.
18%. They got some damage, and they got to keep, more importantly. And that's huge, because now they're not the only team that has a keep down. That's the biggest thing that came out of that, other than that JOHANNA didn't lose there, which is very good if you're a JOHANNA fan.
Yeah.
They need to get out of here, though. If Wipeout is able to engage on someone, this could go very poorly for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it came down to a bombing spread that ended up killing, I believe it killed Greymane, which is the majority of their core damage, but it also spread to the healer, and to, I believe it was HANZO as well. It was somebody else in that area. And that is what forced the disengage, is Alankia wasn't able to do anything to heal all that up. So, a defense made, but definitely have a game. 12 kills to 13. JOHANNA behind in the kill department, and they've lost the last 2 team fights post level 20. So they've got to be concerned that they could be in a bad spot.
They don't have their Chen yet. And Chen's been a huge factor in their team fights here. We do have the play of the game coming out onto HANZO and Ana. Dengstorm gets brought down very low, picks up the item, and immediately drops it. We have Jimmy as the first to fall, however, as we have IJust very low. Eason G using the disengage as a further engage. Idioms pops the Panda Pals to spot dodge the Pyroblast. JOHANNA's trying to get out of there, is able to do it, but they're still on the chase as they have 3-for-0 kills coming out for the side of the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, and they're trying to run it down through bot lane, and I can't disagree with that call.
All right, Ectar, can we say it this time? Well, I'll pose the question again. Has their run of immortality come to an end? It's a 5v2 on core. JOHANNA's has a turret, a lot of flame strikes, and a teammate named Wipeout who's pretty good at Urel.
I think it has to. It has to end here.
I think it does too. JOHANNA's is taken down
gets
very
caught
low.
out, is going to get brought down by Idioms, and that is going to be game number 1 and the undefeated streak broken by the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit 2.020, aka the Saltscale Mrgles.
Yeah, no ETC so far. Unfortunately, I hope we do have an Ultimate Mosh Pit by the end of this.
I'd be surprised if we didn't have at least one.
That
It
would
might not be from the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, but I imagine we'll get at least a couple of really good mosh pits at some point during the series.
That is fair enough. Although you're not alone, not a fan of the ETC. There's the Chen Dive ban.
Yeah, shocked. Absolutely shocked.
If you ban if you put the captain's hat on Patience and Majesty, either one of them, that Chen would have been banned before this game loaded.
Yeah, it'd be like first pixel of the draft screen already banned out.
It'd be like, JOHANNA has to ban, boom, gone, just eliminated from this game.
In a way, that speaks to them possibly considering drafting a comp similar to what they ran in the first game, because Chen's the thing that shut them down pretty hard, and if they don't have to worry about it Chen, then they can just, second verse same as the first, except with more success.
Yep, but they do have to realize that Chen, and I'm sure they do, Chen is not the only source of dive. He's just a very good one. But if they continue to stick with like an Ana or a Jimmy or people that can't deal with things diving on them, there could be like a Tyrael kind of dive with Judgment or something similar in that light that causes so many issues.
You just like Tyrael being ran for Judgment.
Dude, Judgment's a good ability. It's an isolating ultimate that also pushes everybody away and stuns. It's a good ability to dive with.
We do have the Greymane once again being chosen very early in draft. I feel that's going to be a theme going forward in this game, as both teams love that hero. And we've got the High Lord coming out. Big fan.
I'm a big fan of that choice as well. ALARAK was banned out in game 1, and with the strategy to swap to Chen, got a mosh pit. It does free up the ALARAK to be played by Eason G here, so that's going to be interesting. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yep, and ETC, just a solid standard tank. A little bit less good than JOHANNA, but JOHANNA's banned out, so...
Makes him the best tank in the game that's left, I believe, with Mal'Ganis and JOHANNA being taken out.
And we've got Patience playing the Rhaegar, which is the hero I think he's most known for.
I believe you're correct with that. But the important part, as far as the composition is concerned, is that Rhaegar can self-ancestral, or obviously ancestral anybody else. So the dive target is no longer just instantly dead if there was a dive to come in. So that's their adaptation to their loss in game 1, or I think their most overt adaptation.
While true, we don't know what the real Ultimate Mosh Pit are going to be actually drafting here, is the thing.
Correct.
So they could just not draft a blow-up comp. Admittedly, ALARAK, kind of a blow-up hero. Yana, listening to the cast, knowing that we prefer the Gaul ban over the Cho ban. Super appreciated you guys. But yeah, we could definitely still have a more pokey comp coming out from the side of the real Ultimate Mosh Pit. I don't think they have a proclivity to play that kind of a comp as much. I think they enjoy the blow-up. As we've got a very similar comp coming. I like HANZO in particular because he can do either. He can definitely poke out for a long time, but he's also got some really targeted damage, and I mean, Dragon's Arrow. It's just great.
And if you need examples of that, go watch last game.
Except for that one fight along the bottom left-hand keep. Don't worry about that one.
Yeah, that one. I mean, that location's hard to push. All right, Ectar. All right, there we go. We have a Tyrael, but not for the team that was diving last game. So instead, we have Tyrael probably for Sanctification, along with Imperius picked up.
That's interesting. So going with a sort of main tank Tyrael, which I know that's how Blizzard categorizes him, but I never like him in that role personally. But Sanctification is a hell of an ult. It does a lot to undo the things that the real Ultimate Mosh Pit were looking to do in the first game.
Arthas is an offlaner, probably. That's interesting.
Yeah, probably not going to be ALARAK in the offlane. Likely going to be Arthas against the Imperius. And the inevitable caster question, which draft do you like better here?
We could do a poll in chat.
I can't actually. I was not able to get it to work on this channel.
/poll. No, it doesn't work. Oh, not like this.
Yeah.
You know, that's okay. You can just express yourself in letters and words.
Yeah, so using letters, words, maybe some individual characters, how does everybody feel in chat about the way that these two drafts are looking to shape up?
That's a good question. So you mentioned there's...
In a vacuum, I like Yana, but having watched game number 1, I gotta say I'm more inclined to like what the real Ultimate Mosh Pit are doing now compared to the first game. As we have once again spawning in the red trunks on the right-hand side, the real Ultimate Mosh Pit with Eason G playing the High Lord, Alankia playing the Whitemane once again, Synchrony playing the Hanzo, Denkstrom is providing the Mosh Pits, and Idioms is playing Arthas.
And on the left side of Infernal Shrines in the blue trunks, we do have You Are Not Alone losing the first game of the season. I will continue to say that. Yonners playing the Greymane Wipeout on Imperius. Sylvanas played by Majesty. Fizzed moving over to Tyrael, and Rhaegar being played by Patience as they all line up in the top lane to get some self-damage.
We do have a change of pace coming from the Hanzo, going target practice at level 1 instead of the Scatter Arrow quest. And yeah, a lot of damage coming out immediately, as this is not identified immediately by the real Ultimate Mosh Pit, as they are going to lose just that top tower, and Yana are going to disengage very safely. Or attempt to, at any rate.
Yeah, Patience takes a lot of damage from the ALARAK pull. CC was somewhat overlapped, which is understandable, but it still prevented Patience from being taken out there, so nothing long consequence.
We do have Block Party getting picked up, which I think is pretty smart against the comp coming out from the side of You Are Not Alone. Yonder is able to put out quite a lot of auto attack damage, so Block Party makes quite a bit of sense here.
Yep, seems very reasonable. As far as other talents, I don't see anything out of the ordinary, so that is good to see. I do want to point out that You're Not Alone's composition has actually a ridiculous amount of siege damage So when we played them, we played against the Sylvanas as well, and they did a really fantastic job of just being somewhere else and then just taking structures with the Sylvanas trait and Greymane at absolutely no cost.
Got a question from the chat. Why are we calling them the real Ultimate Mosh Pit? Because they asked us to. And the reason being for that is that the Mrgles organization had a little bit of a shake-up, a little bit of a kerfuffle, a little bit of the organization maybe completely collapsing. And most of these people, if not all of them, were previously on a team called the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, so they are rebranding themselves back to their old selves.
Unrebranding, unbranding, whatever it is. The work form before Synchrony, though, in a lot of trouble, is going to get taken out as he attempts to retreat to the top lane, and that'll be first blood for You're Not Alone as they establish early game control.
Very similar to the previous game, actually. Cool guy Hanzo with the sunglasses. I actually have not seen that. I like it quite a bit.
I haven't either. Why hasn't Gunny spammed that yet?
Seriously.
That's a good emote. Like, this year.
Got the first objective coming up. Yana having about a half a level lead going into this, so really well done by them. Just soaking a little bit more and getting the extra Merc camp, the extra kill. Everything's kind of coming up Millhouse for them right now.
Yeah, taking a look at the XP categories, or maybe not, because apparently I can't figure out where that is. There it is. They are ahead pretty much in every category except for minions, and that's only because the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit just picked up a couple lanes. But this is what I was talking about. They decide, You're Not Alone decides, no, we're not going to take this objective immediately. Lots of teams, including ours, would walk to the point quickly and just get on it early, and allow Yana to take structures for free. Patience is just flat out dead. There's no way he survives this.
Yeah, there's a lot of fancy movement attempts, but Dankstrom just holding the Q, waiting for him to make a decision, and then being ready to punish accordingly.
Yep. But it does give Yanners a small window to grab about 11 on the point or so. Idioms is actually up here as well. He's healthier than the other two on the point here, especially once joined by G and Alankia. And that could be in trouble. Yep, he's dead.
Ooh, getting the pull right as he was trying to use the charge to get out of dodge. Gets pulled back in, and that is likely going to be the first objective going over in favor of them. However, you still have Yana in the bottom lane trying to do stuff.
That's a great description, because they always just try and force some kind of value on this map. They always split you up. It's not just, rotate between lanes, 5v5 on an objective, see who comes out ahead. Rotate between lanes, 5v5. They do such a good job of rotating around this map and causing pressure even when they're down in heroes. So it's something to watch out for basically the rest of this game.
Yeah, as we actually have a very slow objective take from the side of the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit. Actually only having their healer on it right now. We do have Yana now picking up another mercenary camp in the bottom lane. I think this puts them like 3-1 merc camps, maybe 4-1 at this point.
Yeah, 4.
So really well done by them. They are actually looking to trade out the bottom fort. They lose the objective, but this camp probably does more than the objective does, honestly.
I would definitely agree. We've got Mercenary Queen on Sylvanas, and how often do you get a first Punisher entire fort? It's rare. So
there's not a lot of defense, so it's possible that this just gets it with the power of Hanzo and WHITEMANE, and then that looks to be the case. This is going to be the fort, but they lost the fort, but they also, they got a fort for it, which is better than you would normally do in this kind of a case.
Especially since they were killed early. All the way back, Patience was killed off in the bottom lane, and so essentially trading a fort down a person as You're Not Alone is a win for them. I like how they rotate around this map and how they play it.
Yep, really well done. It is still an advantage for the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, but maybe not as much of an advantage as you would expect, having gone into an objective phase, got a fort, and having been up a kill.
Yep, indeed. What? We have stage dive from ETC here. What is this? Along with Syndra Gosa being used in the bottom lane, Sylv trait for Sylv trait for I don't know, Frost Dragon, as the bottom fort is now being taken by the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, and the top invade on the Bruisers for You're Not Alone.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening on the map right now. Both teams using either Sylph trait or the Sylph trait that we have on R to make sure that they can get a lot of extra siege damage done. And that is going to be another fort for a fort traded out.
This is wild, but I feel like this favors the team who drafted to make all these trades happen, which is JOHANNA. Like I keep mentioning this thing, but this is how they play this map, and they're playing it the way they like to. So I'm not gonna argue with it too much when I've seen it work so well.
Yeah, can't disagree. We do have the sanctification as picked up. We do have a pause coming out from Majesty. Wonder what that's about. 3-2-3.
That is the good meme.
Kid. Someone picking up some child aggro, it sounds like.
Attracted a small minion nearby, possibly.
Yep.
That, or it's a small goat. There was an adorable post on Reddit yesterday, or an Overwatch stream, where it's like, I need heals, I need heals. And his 4-year-old daughter went into the wife's closet and got him high heels and gave it to him.
Oh, that's adorable.
And I'm like, and I'm just like, all right, this is definitely the most adorable thing that's happened. So that's what I'm kind of picturing right now with Majesty. Said his kid just brought him something. So let's take a look. We do have a little bit of downtime, obviously, for the ultimates. Sanct, Ancestral, Wailing Arrow, Angelic Armaments can go for the throat. Nothing surprising on You're Not Alone. And only Stage Dive being surprising. Maybe Gosa as well. For Real Ultimate Mosh Pit.
Using the time here to put up their whole name into the button there. Took a little bit of time for that, but
to shrink. Yeah, he'll need to shrink that font a little bit as
quite a bit. Yeah.
That's always been a thorn in our maximum length side for our web end and for our casters.
Yep, but we got it on there now. Got the readies coming out from both teams. We are in fact an observer, so they're gonna have to count that in now. Well done, Majesty. And we're back. As mentioned, we do have the Sanctification picked up for Tyrael, so not going for the Mega Dive. But also diving is the Elite Dwarven Chieftain, who is likely going to be doing it right here, as we have the HANZO coming out, securing that first kill out onto Sylvanas. Denstrom does jump into the back. A lot of damage coming out, actually more damage out onto the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit. But it looks like Tyrael might be the next to fall. He does still have Sanctification available. Got interrupted, but we have the kill coming out onto HANZO. Idioms gets brought down low there, the next to fall. And yeah, the 2-for-1 coming out in favor of You Are Not Alone. But really dangerous invade coming out from the side of the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit.
Yeah, and they did a great job, but the Ancestral just barely landed on himself. Patience did a great job just not dying there, which is, I say that, is a contrast to last game, as the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit was able to convert those kills last game, but with the Ancestral here was completely unable to do so, and that's a big defense, because that looked like 3 kills for the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, not gonna lie.
Especially with how quickly that first kill came out. Often kills lead into more kills when you have a protracted team fight, but You Are Not Alone is able to turn that around very well.
I'm really looking for like some kind of angle pun with how you said protracted team fight.
I'm not going to try and give you that one, because that's just bad.
Nah, you know, I mean, math puns, I have to. It's basically in my contract that I don't have.
That's fair.
13's picked up for both sides. Wipeout actually in a bad spot. Ancestral, 8 seconds off cooldown. Good cleanse there, but it is going to force the Angelic Armaments out. So that's not up next for the next little scuffle that'll happen on point.
Yep. But we do still, again, have Mrgles, so not the most impactful teamfight heroic coming out from Idioms necessarily, but they are up in ult economy, and Idioms, or rather Wipeout, is still down at about half hit points, so the real Ultimate Mosh Pit just in a slightly stronger position at this point in the game. Wipeout getting caught again, taking a big chunk of damage. He's going to get jumped on by Dengstrom. The HANZO arrow does come out. Idioms gets brought down very low, but able to keep themselves alive with the power of the Death Coil, and Alanki is healing, of course, and no one dies on either team, but I think that teamfight just slightly favors the real Ultimate Mosh Pit, as Wipeout is still very low.
Yeah, but that did force out all the ultimates, and the biggest one left for all of them. Here comes the Ancestral. No, does not land in time. Put on short cooldown, so not quite out in time, as Wipeout gets pulled in by G for the third time in this fight. And third time's a charm. Tied up on the objective. Idiom's still in a lot of trouble, though. Is going to get healed up just in time. The Ancestral out on Diana's is going to allow You Are Not Alone to re-engage down a player, as the health bars on the side of the real Ultimate Mosh Pit are quite low. 38 Shrine minions picked up, so they're going to try and secure one more, and they do win it, 40-39, I believe.
G just getting a ton of value on the High Lord here. Like, that was 3 small engagements that started with a pull combo. All of them out onto Tyrael. Or sorry, not Imperius, rather.
Yeah. Yeah. Imperial Lord has been the subject of the High Lord's adjudication so far, and it has worked out well. Wipeout's going to have to adjust his playstyle to be able to handle this. Idioms goes in following the Punisher dump, but not a lot's going to come up with this, and they might not even get the fort down. Nice.
Pretty sure
arrow.
they get the fort.
Pretty sure.
Huge counter-strike coming out from G, hitting basically everyone on Yana. Fizz is in a pretty bad spot. I believe he already used Q to try and get in, and isn't going to have anything to get himself out. Gets taken out by the Mrgles. Wipeout gets taken out by the Frost Blast, and that might be a keep at the 11:30, which is pretty good, Crib.
Crip would definitely agree. A Trump, the mayor of Value Town, would also agree. That is some good value, sharing a nice name with the real Ultimate Mosh Pit. And yeah, this is going well for the real Ultimate Mosh Pit, to say the least. I'm very impressed that they're just pulling away small little pieces of just small little opportunities. Greymane getting rooted, followed by a HANZO error, followed by Idioms playing forward to make it happen. Like, the whole thing is just really, really well done.
Ace, next time we get into a finals, we're just gonna abruptly rebrand the team, okay?
All right, sounds good. Should we rebrand ourselves? We should have done that. Oh my gosh. I see what we've done wrong, Ectar. We didn't rebrand ourselves.
You're totally correct.
That seems to be working out. It has nothing to do with skill, of course. It's all about rebranding.
Yeah, I mean, everything is about location and marketing, and the real Ultimate Mosh Pit, they've kind of got both, playing on maps that they like and getting the team the name that they like.
Seems good. They've
Yeah.
truly unleashed their full potential. Push party gank coming out. Level 16's up, and wow, what a hit onto the back line. Alankia taking a lot of damage, is unable to heal through that, and that is a very quick healer kill for You're Not Alone, and a nice disengage from real Ultimate Mosh Pit. But that is going to convert with a Greymane and Sylvanas into some significant structure damage.
But they do have to send Wipeout back, as they have a camp in the bot lane and in the mid lane, so mid lane gonna go straight towards the core. Will get defended eventually, but they need to make sure they don't take too much damage in the bottom lane, as that is where the next objective is. Nice pull combo coming out onto Sylvanas. We have the engagement coming out with the Mrgles. Majesty's pretty low. We don't have any other huge engagement ults except for what could come from Dengstrom, as we just have the regular engagement come out. G takes quite a bit. Majesty's very low, is going to get found out by Synchrony, and that is going to be the dead Sylvanas. Just in time for their healer to come up as well, and that is another 3 for nothing coming out for the side of the real Ultimate Mosh Pit, and they might be able to... I don't know if they could end, but they could do some very serious pressure here.
Well, I think they can. They've got the camp, and they've got 3 catapults. That is a huge amount of core pressure that they just have to support, and they're going for it. So we're going to have to see. I want to point out real quick, sadism, 158 sadism right now for G, and that is just absurd, as the core is starting to go down now.
Yeah, we do have the engagement attempt coming out from Imperius, but he finds himself on the wrong side of the law and is going to go down. I just fizzed going in. Might drop the sanctification, but isn't going to actually stop the core from going down, and that is the swift 2-0 lead going for the real ultimate mosh pit.
Dang, it's amazing how that works. Now don't forget the draft to in-game screen.
Ooh, I have done that before as well, and that's way worse to forget upon. And if you have any viewers in Twitch chat, when that happens, they will let you know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's one of those caster things that it happens to everyone. There's a respect ALARAK ban. In game 1, they banned ALARAK, and they got beat by Chen. In game 2, they banned Chen, and then got beat by ALARAK. Do we see both the Chen and the ALARAK ban and let JOHANNA through now?
That's the thing about having just a couple of really scary heroes, is once you get enough of them, you can't ban all of them.
How can I ban all these heroes?
Exactly. That's why we had to get you to pick up Chromie this season, because teams just started banning out Maiev and ALARAK, and then what do?
Panic.
We have the Greymane getting banned out, which is an interesting derivation from the way that the previous 2 games have gone. He was, I believe, first picked in both games, or at least first round picked in both games. So no Greymane this game is going to be a pretty significant shakeup from the previous 2. And he is good on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Sure is, although he's just good on every map.
Yeah, that's fair.
Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, because they haven't lost and haven't been scared, they haven't changed their ban strategy. Makes sense. They'll use their ban to pick up JOHANNA.
Yep.
Their pickup to ban JOHANNA. That's reasonable. JOHANNA is easily the best tank on this map because wave clear is so important, and she is the best.
Yep, so we have the opportunity for, once again, the HANZO and WHITEMANE pickup, which has found them a lot of success, but going for the immediate Sylvie TC, I think this is probably generally better, but it leaves the opportunity for You Are Not Alone to try and see who else Alankia is comfortable playing in that slot.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. There's the wave clear for 1,000 years for You're Not Alone between Gul'dan and JOHANNA. They can clear waves almost instantly, so that...
And this is a decent map for Deckard Cain because it's got a lot of small areas to fight around, which gives his big, chunky AoE abilities a lot of ability to affect people because, with the global movement speed change that happened forever ago at this point, Deckard Cain kind of got worse. Like, it was just harder to hit people with his E, but on a map where it's this close quarters, you can still get a lot of value. And both of his ults are really strong on this map as well.
Yeah, that is it's very true. Cho and Chen bans coming out, so You're Not Alone, just looks, not to say it's unjustified or anything, but they look scared in this draft. Maybe I'm wrong. Chen's just good anyway. But I don't feel like Chen would be the greatest in this draft and on this map, but they are just covering their bases, and I totally agree with it.
Yeah.
I'd rather, as I've said, I'd rather lose to the thing I haven't played against than lose to the same thing twice. That's a bigger feels bad. And so, ban it out. If you lose to something else, so be it.
Yeah, and we have 3 for 3 now on Alankia playing the WHITEMANE, as we've got a pretty big shakeout coming up from You Are Not Alone. Majesty has a very scary Junkrat, and he's great on this map, and it's different. It's very different than what they've done in the previous 2 games, and I think it could serve them really well. There's a lot less engage potential coming out from the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit compared to the previous 2 games, and that's how they won in the previous 2 games. Just super strong engagements, and they don't have that anymore. They've got, Poke and Melthael, which isn't bad. It's just a departure from what they've done in the past, and so we can't necessarily anticipate how it's going to go this time.
Yeah, You're Not Alone has built themselves like a pokier, tankier kind of composition, and they're going to rely on the heals of Deckard Cain and the poke of their team to kind of make up the difference against a WHITEMANE composition. And I think, I know we've favored Yana in a couple of drafts and everything. But I think this is a definitively strong way to play the map.
I tend to agree, and we still have the random locust spawning in the top lane. But more importantly, spawning in the right-hand side in the red trunks, we have the real ultimate mosh pit, with Dangstrom hopefully providing the mosh pits, ESG on the Jim Raynor, Alankia 3-for-3 on Whitemane, Idioms shifting over to Malthael, and Synchrony playing the Sylvanas.
And in the blue trunks, holding on for dear life in the series, it is You Are Not Alone. We have Synchrony playing no, that is the wrong side. Majesty
Sure
playing Junkrat. Yeah. Patience on Deckard. Fizzed on Johanna. Wipeout playing Blaze, and Gul'dan being played by Yanners.
So checking the level 1s as casters are wont to do, we have the Sapphire coming out from Deckard Kana. It's a very strong talent, and I honestly think it's the reason that he's even viable, to be completely fair. Echoed Corruption, which is not a huge surprise. We do have ETC going into the Prog Rock this time, and Malthael has a lighter than average horse.
Very reasonable.
Also worth
we do
mentioning,
have
Jim
low
Raynor
amount.
has Ace in the Hole.
That's pretty standard. I mean, it self-procs now.
Yeah,
The ability's
that's-
kind of just amazing in all scenarios.
Yeah, it
It's-
is literally a level 1 ability and a level 4 ability now. That's nuts.
That's, yeah, like, Blizzard, please, what are you doing? That's real good. Blow him up on Junkrat's kind of interesting. Hitting a hero with Concussion Mine or Trap increases basic attack damage, so we might see like a basic attack Junkrat, which would be something I haven't seen.
Yep.
Seems neat.
As we kind of mentioned, You Are Not Alone have significantly stronger wave clear at this point in the game, and so they're able to get these map rotations and try to get their stacks more effectively, where the real ultimate mosh pit kind of has to actually split to cover the top 2 lanes.
I actually really liked what Yana was doing right there. They rotated everybody up to the top lane ahead. Then they just positioned Johanna and Junkrat in between the 2 lanes. And yeah, it made a lot of issues trying to rotate up for the real ultimate mosh pit. There's no way they could do it. So they've taken a lot of bonus damage, even missed a little bit of minion XP. Wipeout, though, is going to be on the back end of a gank. The Majesty Mine interrupted the slide and prevented Wipeout from being hit, and now Dangstrom is in a little bit of trouble down here.
Idiom's in a little bit of trouble as well. It's starting to take quite a bit of damage. Is able to sidestep the root. Generally, that teamfight went better for Yana, although if you look at just Wipeout, you wouldn't know it.
Yep, but Real Ultimate Mosh Pit was able to soak up in the top lane. Sylvanas was out the entire time. So there is a little bit, albeit fairly small, but a little bit of XP lead for the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit.
We do have the Chattering Teeth coming out, and we have Ruby picked up by Deckard Cain. I've been seeing this quite a lot in high-level play recently, which is super interesting because this was not a good talent for a very long time, but to see it getting picked up now, it is a lot of in-teamfight healing, but it has to be used really at the right times. It's a super strong ability for throughput, but you have to be moving forward. If you try to use Ruby on the defensive, you'll just run away from the potions and get 0 value at all. So you really have to be using that while you're going at the enemy team.
Yep, that is the power of the mini potions, though, is real. We do have a bottom lane push with the Sylvanas coming out and the no Mercenary Queen. We have Unstable Poison. That does claim the bottom tower in the bottom lane, so the bottommost tower possible on the map. And they left Idioms to double soak on the Malthael, as Malthael basically always does.
Yep. We do have a little bit of a turning coming out for the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit. Some damage coming out on the Dangstrom, but nothing too significant. Idioms is rotating in from the bottom lane because they can just rotate so very quickly and get down to the bottom lane. Wipeout was actually taking some pretty significant damage from the Malthael earlier in the game, so look to see him try to not have that lane arrangement as often as possible, as we do have Malthael now going into that Bruiser camp.
Yeah, and that could facilitate them getting a turn in soon-ish. They've got enough gems between Idioms and Synchrony to make it happen. There's a little bit of gank on the Synchrony. The Sapphire almost locking Sylvanas into place for just to allow the route to happen, but not quite. And now both teams posturing for a turn-in.
Yeah, not quite able to stop Wipeout from turning in. exactly enough gems on instead of you're not alone, split across 3 people. So not going to be able to get that turn in particularly easily, but they're a lot closer to it than the real Ultimate Mosh Pit are at this point.
Yeah, that is a factual statement. Push coming in with the Bruisers, but the Bruisers are already dead as crap. Jim's in a lot of trouble. ESNG gets a nice cleanse from Alankia. Fizz now takes a lot of damage, but does get healed up by multiple potions. I believe that could have been a Ruby
It was
heal.
effective.
That was, yeah, it was a lot of healing. And, yeah, health bars looking quite good for You're Not Alone, and that might allow them to get a turn in here pretty soon.
Yeah, Wipeout got in another couple, so they only need 3 for the turn in at this point, which is still only on I Just Fizz. Someone else turned in, so they need 1.
Connors turned in 2, quick math.
Yeah, we do have the real Ultimate Mosh Pit trying to get their turn in, but not able to stop Majesty from turning in half of his gems there, so they can get the first Webweaver phase of the game.
Thanks for half of his 2 gems were in fact turned in. That is correct. Nice juke by ESNG there.
Ooh, Synchrony is in a bit of a dangerous spot. Probably going to be able to get away from the power of that Haunting Wave. Is, in fact. Ooh, does take quite a bit of decent damage coming from it, though, but is just going to be able to tap up and get in for this defense.
Yep, and it is, looks like it's fairly standard here. The real Ultimate Mosh Pit going to defend mid first, then rotate up to top. You're Not Alone going to be pushing in the top lane, and it'll be a soul lane fight down at the bottom.
Which,
Tower's
again,
already
Malthael
dead.
has been winning for the most part, and bottom lane Webweaver's already cleared up as well.
Yeah, that's easy clearing for Malthael down there, and looks like first Webweavers really only get the top wall. I think that's basically it.
Yeah, they got the wall, but not the towers in the mid lane, so nothing to be gained there except a teeny bit of vision. And I guess the ability to dive under towers better.
Yeah, to be fair, Yana, pretty good at diving under towers. Level 10's still ahead for the real Ultimate Mosh Pit, albeit by, like, wave clear amounts. Like, who clears a wave sooner or later. So, they do have a small window where they can try and turn in, and now it closes. So,
Yeah. So for the ultimates, we do have the... Oh, that's a ton of damage coming out, followed by I Just Fizz with the really significant shield coming in. ECG does get saved by the power of the Alankia
Divine
healing.
Reckoning.
Yeah, Divine Reckoning, thank you very much. ECG taking a lot of damage is once again going to get topped off, but that is the red Webweaver phase now coming in for the real Ultimate Mosh Pit, as they were able to sneak a turn in, I believe, from Idioms in the bottom lane. Synchrony is able to get out as well, but they're not going to be able to push super well with this until they're able to get themselves topped up.
yeah, it was actually Synchrony disengage off the team fight. I believe Haunted Wave into the objective point and just went and turned in as the focus fire went out to ESNG. So, yeah, just really good timing on that to just basically sneak that in mid-fight.
Yep, unfortunately for them, the top lane is pushed out pretty far. Bottom lane is starting to get cleared up by Blaze, who doesn't have the best wave clear for doing that, but we do still see the real Ultimate Mosh Pit trying to get that parity into the top lane. This is the boss lane, so it's the lane that most often gets prioritized by teams. And we do have the actual Mosh Pit available this time for the real Ultimate Mosh Pit. Has not used it quite yet, is off cooldown. But there's a lot of ways to interrupt it for the side of You Are Not Alone.
Yep, and most of them are ults that just came up. Here comes the engage from You're Not Alone. Creates a huge blow up, and the 3 squishy members in the top lane get obliterated. Dankstrom short to follow. I don't believe he'll be able to escape. He might be able to escape. He's definitely able to escape. Never doubted him for a second.
Yeah, but that was a really good counter engage coming out from You Are Not Alone with the Stay a While and Listen, followed by Rip Tire, and just chunking out way too much damage. And at the time, Alankia, sorry, names are hard. Alankia was just a little bit too far forward and taking a lot of that damage as well.
Yep, there is not a lot that could be done once that fight was underway.
Oh.
ESNG action concussion mine.
That should be
but
ESNG following. Not actually following up on the route that Patience provided, so Jimmy
I think,
is able to walk away.
Yeah, Synchrony's Haunted, or Wailing Arrow came in, I think as a counter follow-up. Like, to prevent Yana from following up. So they did a good job there. It is going to, however, cost that Sylvanas ultimate that is so important in team fights.
Yep, we do have the bottom web weaver getting cleared out, so we do have actually an engage coming out onto Jimmy with the excellent Horrify coming out as the follow-up CC. G is going to be the first to fall. Just Bless Shield into Horrify is such a dangerous combo. So we have the engage now coming out onto Alankia, is trying to pop ult to survive, is doing a little bit of damage to try and get that healing, and is barely able to walk away, but is likely going to have to back all the way to get themselves topped up before they can be useful in the next team fight.
Yeah, and this is the big web weaver damage that needs to be dealt. Getting the kills and being able to push with the web weaver is a big part of this map. And Yano is able to do that. They've secured the mid fort. They've secured top fort was just wall damage, so they secured top fort. Lots of structures picked up there, and that's really opening the map up and giving Yana great map control.
Yeah, we have the level 13s now getting picked up for the side of the real ultimate mosh pit, so looking to maybe try and get something done now that they have even talent tiers. They do have a web weaver turn in, singularly on idioms, in fact, so gonna have to make sure that that one individual hero can't get that turn in, which is both good and bad for the side of the real ultimate mosh pit. Synchrony, pretty far up front, is able to press the second cast of the Banshees to get themselves out of there, just barely. But this is map position very strongly in favor of You Are Not Alone at this point.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about this map. Once you take down these forts, you get incredible goaltending control for a very significant proportion of the game, as the lanes are always going to be pushing in your favor. Idiom's trying to get the turn in, but it's not going to happen. It is going to happen. I thought that Flame Stream was going to get there in time, and I think so did Wipeout. But
I thought the Flashlight was going to get there in time too, but I believe even that ability has a bit of a projectile to it, so...
It does have a cast time to it as she kind of rears back and then launches her shield, but nonetheless, regardless of how it got there, there are red web shoot. Ectar, we can't say it.
Cursed.
Cursed. Need colorblind mode on. It's orange.
Yeah, we do have the real ultimate mosh pit pushing very hard in this bottom keep. Silph I believe, not available quite yet. I think they used it on the fort earlier. Should be up again very soon, popping the Hyperion to do a lot of damage. Dangstorm is going to provide the vision to know that Majesty is sharking around in the top lane, but top web weaver already cleared out, trying to do damage into the bottom lane. Sylvanas does get put into the steel trap, but as much as they wanted to make something happen in the bottom lane, they're not finding it, and more importantly, they're not trying to push. Oh my god, that engagement coming out from JOHANNA. That is going to be a very quick 3-for-0 coming out from You Are Not Alone. Just, it's not a point-and-click stun, but god, it feels like a point-and-click stun.
It sure does. Fizzed is nailing, not just like short-range, like follow-up shields. These are long-range shields, getting max range on some of these, and it is punishing the positioning of the real ultimate mosh pit in a very painful way. And this has been by far the strongest map, or the strongest we've seen Yana play, at least this set so far. As yeah, every engage is working out perfectly for him. They're up 7 kills to 0. Have a boss and have a turn in.
I like this call coming in from the real ultimate mosh pit to just get mid, because you can't honestly do a whole lot else other than taking this bruiser camp. So they're doing all the things that they can right now. It's just what they can is very limited by how badly they lost that last team fight. One thing I want to point out, it cannot be overstated how important the follow-up Horrifies have been from Yonders. Yes, the Blessed Shields have been big, but Horrify after that is what has really secured a lot of these kills, and that is a much harder ability to use.
Yeah, you've got to step up properly for that. That's pretty tough stuff. All the combos are ready to go. Dankstrom, who had his mosh pit interrupted last time, goes for it. Actually gets it put on short cooldown as the real ultimate mosh pit tries to fight past the boss. Stay a while and listen comes out. All the ults are used. Here comes the Wailing Arrow. Idiom's trying to make a lot of chaos happen in the back. Last Right secures their first kill. Mosh pit lands on 2. It's going to lead to the first full team wipe. And wow, Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, taking that fight by storm, but will save the keep.
Real question, though, was that a real Ultimate Mosh Pit? Or do you think they can do better?
Okay, let's break it down word by word. It was there was only one of them. Real, definitely was real.
Yep.
Ultimate, that might be debatable. You might need, like, I don't know, 4 games, maybe even 5 to know if it's the ultimate one or not.
Well,
Mosh Pit, definitely.
was in fact a
I
Mosh
think
Pit.
that
We're hitting 4 out of 5 right now, so it was at least the real Mosh Pit. We don't know yet if it was Ultimate. We'll find out by the end of the series.
Yeah, for sure.
Not quite able to
But-
save the fort in the bottom lane, unfortunately. Idioms did split out, but are able to pick up a couple of extra gems and, at least as importantly, hit up that bot lane XP.
Yep, and now, because You Are Not Alone only turned in with exact amount, they have 4 gems to their next turn in, and Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, 39 out of the 60, so they are much closer to the turn in, and they are, albeit, again, small margin, winning the race to 20.
Alankia has stopped moving and has recommenced moving. Excellent. A little bit of an engage trying to come out onto Dengstrom is in a really awkward spot, but with some fancy footwork is really able to walk away more than I would have expected.
That was a great move.
Hits a shield out onto 2, but there was no follow-up Horrify, and yeah, that's kind of just 2 ults for nothing at this point, and the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit almost have their Mosh Pit off cooldown once again as they have the engagement coming out onto Patience, who is certainly going to fall. A lot of damage, however, coming out onto Idioms, does get topped back up by Alankia. Dengstrom gets brought down very low as well, is having to sidestep and get out of there a little bit. Synchrony taking quite a bit of damage as well, and that is a really big jet propulsion, actually, followed by the really big boot onto Alankia, is going to secure that kill. Idioms is going to barely survive as well, unless Wipeout's able to find something. Good use of the Wraith Strike to get themselves out of there fully disengaged, but what a back and forth series of teamfights over the last 40 seconds.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. The Whitemane healing from the ultimate was almost enough. The Divine Reckoning is such a good ability, but the Bunker is able to negate a lot of the damage. Now, 2 more kills coming out as ESNG and Idioms are taken out, and with it being 1v5 on core, even with Fizz being low, this should be You're Not Alone going ahead and finishing off the core.
Yeah, that will definitely be game number 3 going in favor of You're Not Alone, and we finally got ourselves a match. That's unfair. Game 1 was really close.
This has been really solid, but as far as the final scores go, we have a match now. It's 2-1. Yana takes Tomb of the Spider Queen.
It's one of the old talents. One of the really old talents.
Back in my day, talents. It's a talent Deckard Cain would even know about.
Yeah. It was a talent from back when Abathur only had 1 heroic ability.
That is old. And it used to be on multiple heroes too. The mule. Malfurion had a mule, which makes him canon in the StarCraft universe. It's a good talent because it directly counteracts the map objective.
Especially on this map, where the map objective is literally just damage to buildings.
Yeah, it is just, you get so many shots to put onto buildings through the entire game. And once you run out of those, you lose. Flat out. It's over. And Mule is the only way to reverse that. You can prevent it with stuff like Tassadar walls and
Ragfort,
but the only way to reverse it is through Mule.
Yeah. Yes.
Is that correct? Do we have stats on is Sky Temple the least picked map in NGS?
It was the last time I checked about 2 or 3 weeks ago by a fair margin. So it seems likely that it's still the least played map in NGS. Unless just everyone's been playing it in the playoffs, but I find that unlikely.
So
Yana finding some success in game number 3 with the ALARAK and Chen bans coming out eventually. And we have the ALARAK and the Chen bans. Like, we lost to these two things, we're not going to play against these two things. Cannot
beat us
fault the
with a
logic.
Yeah, can they beat us with a third thing? Because they didn't last game.
It's fair.
It's quite fair. So we'll have to see really how the Ultimate Mosh Pit wants to pick first. This is the first time they've gotten to pick first, and they're going to focus on that JOHANNA. Kind of beat him up last game.
Yeah, it really did. And it served them well in game number 1, if I'm not mistaken.
Game number 1, JOHANNA was definitely banned. This is the first time Real Ultimate Mosh Pit has had a chance to play JOHANNA, I believe. So
No, you're right. They banned Joe in the first game. And we've got the Abathur Greymane. It's a classic combo.
It really is. Abathur allowing for even more burst damage from a Greymane dive and giving him the regen that he desperately needs.
Yeah, especially after 13, it just makes Greymane... Like, you don't need to give him a lot of extra survivability, but just giving him the Carapace heal and also the Soma transference is the difference between a dead Greymane and a 15 health Greymane that's still swiping you in the face.
Yeah, very, very accurate. Falstad picked up for Synchrony, and Sylvanas moving to G at least, temporarily, possibly, for this game, but they might choose to swap it up on us.
Yeah, and I like a Falstad pickup. It makes it so that Abathur kind of has to play a little more honest. The body soak value has gone down a little bit since the XP globes don't magnetize to heroes in bushes, which is what Abathurs are wont to do on this map in a lot of cases. But at the same time, Abathur he's not that much weaker. Like, you just throw a symbiote in there and he just kind of vacuums up globes anyway. And Falstad means that if you're ever just too far out and it's noticed that you pop that Q, Falstad can get in and kill you before you can un-Q and dig out.
Very reasonable. So things, Tyrael banned out by Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, and it's reasonable. More attack speed on Greymane is always scary.
Yeah, but with as quickly as ETC was picked up, it doesn't look like I Just Fizz was planning to pick Tyrael.
Correct. I tend to agree with that statement. So, ETC Rhaegar for You're Not Alone there.
Yep.
Feels like the Game 2 composition on Shrines a little bit.
Yeah, wouldn't be terribly surprised to see another Gul'dan get picked up here. It's a bigger, more spread out map, but at the moment they're pretty low on wave clear. So they need one of a couple of things right now. Wave clear. I think they could draft a solo laner, but I think that's the least likely. Ooh, a tank Uther. Actually, this is
it's a whatever
Uther.
You want it to be Uther. This Uther can be whoever you want it to be. You want damage Uther? You've got it. You want bruiser Uther? You can have it. You want a second tank Uther? You can have it. Or it could just be a bonus healer. You can have it. Uther is the do-it-all hero that we need in this league.
This is the who am I, none of your business Uther.
Oh, and is Sonya into Uther? Are you mad? Wow, this is going to be wild. There is no range poke for You're Not Alone, except Greymane pew-pew-pewing.
Yeah, sound the klaxons, because it is dive, dive, dive o'clock coming out from You Are Not Alone.
Oh my goodness. And it's going to be on Dangstrom and Idioms to make the...
And Synchrony.
And Synchrony. But especially the stuns. Looking at the stuns, it's Dangstrom and Idioms, but even Synchrony to gust away the bad fight without gusting away all the stuns.
Yeah, this is very much an unstoppable force versus a movable object kind of a situation, where you just have so much ability to go in from the side of You Are Not Alone, and so much ability to absorb or defend against an engage from the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit. I'm just really excited to see how this is going to play out. It's going to be a very skill-testing kind of a match. As we have spawning on the left-hand side in the blue trunks, You Are Not Alone with Yonners playing Greymane, Wipeout playing Sonya, I Just Fizzed on the ETC, Patience playing the trademark Rhaegar, and Majesty on the Pajamathur.
And on the right side of the map in the red trunks, we have the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, aka Saltscale Mrgles, if you're unfamiliar with the rebranding. Just joined us. We have Synchrony playing Falstad, Idioms on Uther, Dangstrom playing JOHANNA, Blankia 4 times out of 4 on Whitemane, and G on Sylvanas.
Checking out the level 1 talents as you are wont to do, we have the start of the bird box build coming out. Dangstrom just kind of face checking and taking a casual 15% from mines. As we have the Sylvanas-less cheese in the bottom lane coming out from You Are Not Alone, and the Sylv cheese coming out in the top lane from the real ultimate mosh pit. Majesty is going to have to get out of dodge, as this is going a little bit better for the side of You Are Not Alone for the time being. However, as these lanes start clearing and you think it's going to start flipping over in favor of the real ultimate mosh pit, both teams saying, we don't need to play this game, we don't need objectives to deal damage, we're just going to go int on top of buildings.
Yeah, there's an old Div D game where both teams just ran it down just like this, and, just ended the game in 2 minutes. That would be a really wild way for the grand finals of Division B to go down.
Yeah.
But it could be a thing. 1 minute forts picked up on both sides, and now it's a camp invade from You're Not Alone, and this is a wild match already.
I have to say, I think this favors You Are Not Alone. Bot lane is the most important lane on this map, and that's the one that they got.
Hard agree. Although they do have a better soul lane matchup now, which isn't for nothing. But, I mean, Abathur can just sit in the back and body soak, possibly, and not be in a lot of harm's way, while also denying XP because it's so far pushed up. So, I mean, yeah, it seems like Yana really got the better end of this trade, especially when they pick up 2 camps after it, too.
Yeah. Although Uther is already 53 stacks out into his Hammer of the Lightbringer, so getting some really good value there. As we have, Dangstrom is just getting the soak in the mid lane. I think that the real ultimate mosh pit are doing a little bit of a better job of getting XP in lane. However, you have Yana taking the advantage in mercenary camps in a very big way.
Numbers reflect it. Mercenaries, 1000 XP to 0, but advantage to Yana, obviously. And as of not a couple seconds ago, it was about a 500 minion lead for Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, but that has actually been eroded away, and now there's an XP lead in both for You're Not Alone, as they take their 4th camp in under 2.5 minutes.
For anyone that was calling for Haunted Mines in this series, this is as closest to Haunted Mines as you're ever going to get in NGS.
Yeah.
Both teams just kind of running it down lanes and taking camps on cooldown and not engaging each other at all.
This is a little bit wild. Four fort kills and no hero kills so far this game. I don't even think, like, every hero has been in vision range of every other hero. It's been kind of wild.
3 minutes in the game, most hero damage 2,600 by Abathur. Do have some damage coming out into Yoners now, but honestly, there's not a lot that the real Ultimate Mosh Pit can do to make a fight happen before 10.
Yeah, that is a big problem with JOHANNA and Uther together. They can't fight pre-10, but they do have some good ability post-10. As a quick side note, only 2 heroes have over 1,000 hero damage currently, 3.5 minutes in. That'll change shortly, as there is maybe a 1-1 trade, but it looks like there might be a scuffle over this mid-lane temple.
I think this was Yana's plan going in. I think that the real Ultimate
sure.
Mosh Pit have done a decent job responding to what they're doing, but this looks practice coming out from the side of You Are Not Alone, with the singular exception of the kill going out onto the Pajamather there. But they've got the top objective, or most of it. Wipeout's got to stay on that point there. And they've just gotten more damage overall than their opponents have.
Synchrony's actually dead down here because there's no bottom. Fizzed is going to go ahead. Oh!
What a juke,
No
though.
way. No way. He's
still dead from the Abathur, but...
Imagine if he didn't de-step the Abathur, though. Imagine if he escapes because he doesn't de-step the Abathur. That would be a big brain play, but, as it is.
Yeah, this is a really smart way to play this map coming out from You Are Not Alone. Just using their superior wave clear and their just ability to rotate around the map to just take buildings. And they're up basically a full fort right now.
And they've got an XP mop in Abathur, so they don't have to be as good about soaking the minions. Like, I feel like Yana has played every map better in the early game. I don't think there's been one where I've thought they've done worse in the early game.
So here's an interesting play coming out from the side of the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, using their Sylph pressure and this big minion wave in the top lane to try and get some stuff done. And you would think that You Are Not Alone would decide to defend this, but instead they're just going to take boss in the bottom lane, and I think that's the smarter play. They've made it a smarter play than I would have thought to do for sure.
Yep, because there's not a lot... well, as I say that, Real Ultimate Mosh Pit is going to go back in. I think they tried to sniff that they were going to be ganked on, but... no, they didn't. Mule drops in to try and help the keep out. But, yeah, boss is picked up in the bottom lane, and the remaining members are going to go ahead and push with it in the bottom lane and ETC a stage dive.
Yeah, so really well done by them, picking up the level 10s in advance of their opponents. Picking up the ults that you would expect for this map and the way that they've been playing so far. And this boss certainly gets bottom. Although they do have the potential to disengage Gus. Synchrony taking a decent bit of damage from Giannis is able to get away. Already diving onto the core. You gotta get that keep down first, buddy. They actually lose top keep before they take their own bottom keep, but this is a Greymane and a Greymane clone on core. They are going to push him into the keep, but there's still a pretty healthy boss. The follow-up stun from Idiom's doing a lot to actually secure the kill out on the ETC. The Abathur clone goes down. Yanners is going to follow shortly thereafter, but core is starting to fall fast. Wipeout trying to chunk out some damage. Yanners getting the full heal coming up from Patience, and that is really close, and I don't want to call it just yet. Just barely done. That is game number 4 in very quick fashion for the side of You Are Not Alone. It's a pretty good background. BOE, one of the earliest maps added into Heroes of the Storm, and is going to be our ultimate match here in B West Grand Finals.
And B East Grand Finals.
And B East Grand Finals. You're very correct in that.
Yep, so now, no. Let's go back to game 3. We had the real mosh pit, but because it could be the last mosh pit, it may become the real ultimate mosh pit.
That's true. Yana has found a ban strategy that they like, and they're sticking to it, and it's hard to blame them because it worked in games 3 and 3.5, so let's see how it'll work for them in game 5.
Yep. Interesting. Although it's the most minor of deviations, Mal'Ganis has been second ban every time, Jaina first ban every time.
That is true.
So are they going to ban Greymane and allow Jaina through?
I would love to see that because I'm a spectator first and a commentator second, and I would like to see the shake-up there.
Ooh, I like it. Good.
But no.
Nope.
Just giving in the world's tiniest debate. They could.
Where's the Greymane?
They could go JOHANNA, as it worked extraordinarily well for them in Game 3, but nope, going for the Greymane.
Thank you. Yeah, don't forget, slap your Yanas in chat if you want You're Not Alone to win. Slap your Trump in chat if you want the real Ultimate Mosh Pit to win.
Thank you for specifying. We do not not support political discourse here in the NGS Twitch chat, and I appreciate not too many people mentioning such things. We do have the JOHANNA HANZO coming out once again, so kind of going back to the roots of what was bringing success to the real Ultimate Mosh Pit in those first 2 games.
Yep, the JOHANZO combo, if you wish.
Yeah.
It's popular. We've done that a good bit. We do have Fizzed picking up the ETC, and Patience still in the radar.
We might see Fizzed actually overtake and become the real Ultimate Mosh Pit.
Oh my god, it's a redemption arc. Go down 0-2, become the real Ultimate Mosh Pit, and then win in reverse sweep. Is that their plan all along? I can't believe it.
I love a Sylvanas ban. Sylvanas has been good for whichever team has had her this whole series.
I want to see what Isenji is going to pick up here.
Yeah.
Well on the ALARAK, and he's played Sylv the last 2 times.
He was. Who was he in game 1?
No. That's what I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
It feels like a long time ago, but it actually wasn't.
And there's been a lot of things happening in these 2. Whoa, we got a WHITEMANE ban. Going to see something else.
I like it so much.
They're not worried about anything else.
I have loved Alankia's play in most of the last games. You know, game number 4, there wasn't a lot to say. The healers were not playing a pivotal role there. But forcing them to play something different is interesting. And Ana and Li Ming, this is a BOE draft through and through. I'm scared for an Ana draft, though.
Yeah.
Oh
boy.
I'm so scared.
Oh, it's
oh
this.
my god.
Oh no. It's Samuro Abathur. It's that nonsense. They are going all out here in Game 5. Samuro with some redonkuloso auto attack damage and the ability to push structures down, especially when cloned by an Abathur. So that is yeah, that's gonna be scary.
I like the Arthas pickup. I was just thinking
That's
they
good.
need something to stop Samuro and Greymane and ETC from walking at Ana. And Arthas might be one of the better tanks in the game for stopping people from walking forward.
That is a good point, and that's what they're going to need. Idioms played Arthas in Game 2, I believe.
Yes.
Shrines? Yes. Yep,
Yeah.
Shrines.
It was the,
So-
the Sylph trade on R.
Accurate. So, yeah, I think their good pickup. And yeah, it comes down to this. It's all on the line here. The drafts are in. It's definitely BOE. If you just showed me these drafts without the map, yeah, it'd be BOE.
Oh, yeah.
So, probably have Scatter Hanzo as we saw in Game 1. People like taking that on this map, and yeah, here it is.
Here it is indeed, and we have spawning on the right-hand side in the red trunks for game number 5, the Saltscale Mosh Pit, with Synchrony playing the Hanzo, Dankstrom is playing the JOHANNA, Eason G playing the Li Ming. We have, I have to tab because they're standing in front of it, Alankia playing the Ana, and Idioms is playing the Arthas.
The battle begins in
And on the
10
side of Angel's Forces, the High Heavens, we have You Are Not Alone, tied 2-2 in the series. We have Majesty playing Abathur, Wipeout playing Samuro, Patience on Rhaegar again, Yanners on Greymane, and I Just Fizzed on ETC.
We've got a lot of commentary coming out from Twitch chat saying that Wipeout is going to single-handedly win this game for the side of You Are Not Alone. Arthas being insufficient to stop them from just walking at the enemy team, and I'm afraid that they might be right. I think
Well,
Arthas might be
you
the
know.
best that they have to stop him, but I don't know that it's enough.
You know, I know one pastry, very big fan of You're Not Alone. That was saying that Wipeout Tyrell is going to walk over the real Ultimate Mosh Pit in Game 1. And you know what happened? They lost.
For the
So
first,
I've
like,
heard it
80% of the game, that kind of happened.
It sure did.
But that's not the
But
part
you
of the
know
game
what?
that matters.
No, they lost. Doesn't matter. The Yrel did not win them the game because they didn't win the game. So I don't want to hear it. There is a chance for both teams in here to win this game.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that either team can't win.
Yeah.
I personally feel there is a small advantage for Yana here.
So
If for no other reason, and there are several reasons, but if for no other reason, then they're on more comfortable picks possibly than their opponents. Alankia, having played Whitemane in 4 of the 4 previous games and not playing Whitemane in this game, you always have to wonder, how is that going to affect this game?
yep, it does a little bit. Slide hits. Oh my gosh, what a sleep dart from Alankia. Never mind, perfectly fine. Everything's a-okay. It's a
Yeah, that
great
was-
two-man sleep dart. That saved Synchrony's life.
Really scary right up until it wasn't.
Right up until nap time. Soul Lane matchup is Arthas versus Abathur, and it's a neutral matchup because Soul Lanes don't matter in 2020, am I right?
For the most part, yeah.
Feels bad, man.
Samuro did rotate up into the top lane after they got that camp, which will mostly just stop Arthas from trying to do things, and maybe allow Arthas to actually get a couple more stacks, but as it is, it's not the world's most important lane. It just takes a little bit of pressure off of the Abathur before he rotates over to take that camp in the left-hand side.
I actually think they picked up this camp too early here on the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit, not just by timing, but also because Hanzo hadn't picked up the serrated arrows yet, which would have made that wave, that camp clear significantly quicker. And that's not nothing to be able to take that camp more quickly. So it allowed You're Not Alone to push in, take down the tower in the bottom lane, and again, it's also not nothing.
Synchrony's
Wipeout's
gonna
actually
die.
making. Yeah, Synchrony's dead. Goodbye, Sync. Oh, no, he has Shimada privilege.
He
so he's
did, but I
okay.
expected an Avatar had to come in there. They
too.
definitely would have secured that kill. Synchrony's still very low, and that's a dangerous spot for him to be in. Idioms doesn't have a disengage and is getting body blocked pretty deeply by ETC. Is maybe going to make it out? Barely makes it out with 200 hit points.
No tap, though.
Yep. But that is time for the rest of his team to actually get on the point and start doing some damage to this Immortal. They don't have the best race over here with Ana, JOHANNA, and...
JOHANNA and Ana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lightning is okay, but it's better poke than it is race.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. She kind of cracks a defense rather than pushes objectives too hard. Greymane and possibly an Avatar are just mopping up the top Immortal, and a 1500 health advantage comes out for the real ultimate mosh pit, but I genuinely think Yana may be able to win it anyway. Fist actually takes a lot of damage. Smurf clones block the orbs, and that is going to be a retreat from You're Not Alone, and that should open the space up for the real ultimate mosh pit to start burning this Immortal.
Yeah, and they're just going to put the HANZO on it, and they're going to keep the rest of their 4 on defense, because that gives them a relatively even fight, discounting the Avatar hat. And they actually just send Samura off to try and do some stuff maybe in the top lane. Looks like they're not really trying to push in too hard here. But they still kind of can, as they have Idioms is actually above them, not blocking for their Alankia. Gets a pretty big heal off of the Biotic Grenade, but is going to have to back all the way out. So to be fair, they were backing out into where they're trying to deal damage anyway, so it works out pretty well for him.
Yeah, it works out, and it gives them the first Immortal, which is kind of to be expected with the Avatar comp. It's basically a 4 and some bonus versus 5 on that first objective. So it's just on the defense here.
While true, Adrenal Overload is pretty huge on an auto attacker like Greymane.
Accurate, but
Fizz is looking to find something here. Yonner's not quite positioned far enough forward. Samuro is also trying to find something. Does go in and finds Ana, and she's going to get jumped on really hard. The big grenade is going to get her a decent heal, but she's not going to be able to walk out of there. Synchrony does have to back out, isn't going to get chased down the rest of the way. They do get the entirety of the front wall and about half of the fort, but that's all they're going to find off of that because of that admittedly really strong engagement coming out from I Just Fizzed. And they've got Mule, so they should be able to pump that down and start healing the damage up here. Never mind, it's already in the top lane.
Oh, Synchrony takes a bit more Samuro damage, but does walk away. The Samuro engagement, this is on Dengstrom. You've got to hold your blind, be ready for it, and make sure it is critical that you drop the blind on top of Ana when she gets dove. That is mission 1. Ana cannot heal for herself. She is just the deadest hero when jumped on, so she's got to be able to survive with the blind. The contact healing on 1 will help, but it's up to Dengstrom to make this work.
Admittedly, part of that's on Alankia being far enough back that it should be
Correct.
a little hard for Samuro to engage upon her, at least during the laning phase. She should be totally safe during the laning phase. It's the big open fights in the jungle area that are bad for Alankia, and that is going to be Idioms probably going down, trying to find a couple of stacks on the way out, but definitely just going to die, although the team might get bottom fort in recompense, and that's pretty decent trade. However, this does give time for Yana to maybe get their own fort.
Yeah, You're Not Alone's going to push in into the top lane, and again, they've got Adrenal Overload. They've got just a stupid amount of siege damage, and they're going to push in. I don't think they're actually going to be able to confirm up this fort, though, so not bad, but they are going to be nearly up level 10 coming into this objective phase, basically guaranteeing the Immortal.
They do have the initial race coming out as well, and that's definitely going in favor of You Are Not Alone, as the real ultimate mosh pit actually not going on to race, going instead for the camp initially, probably looking to make a defense during the second half, but they're not going to have 10s for it.
I would have liked to see him burn that, honestly. It is free damage for when Yana wins it, and I say win because they should be up 10. There should not be a loss here from JOHANNA. I mean, things could go a little wild, but, you know, you can't always be certain. Engagement comes out. Fist actually gets knocked down under the Immortal Stun. Is going to take a lot of damage. Is going to drop a single-man Mosh Pit onto Idioms and receive an Ancestral. So the fight's going well for them. Idioms is in a really bad spot. Nice blind from the JOHANNA. Keep Idioms up for a couple more seconds, but it's still not enough. 10's picked up, but not locked in until after the fight for the real Ultimate Mosh Pit. And a full health Immortal, full shield Immortal, is now in the bottom lane.
And unfortunately, their Bruiser camp got taken out in the top lane just there as well. So everything is going in favor of You Are Not Alone at this point, being up in kills. They're down in ultimates, but they're up a player, and that's the most important thing going here. Followed very closely by the fact they've got a big chunky Immortal coming down through the bot lane as well, already onto the bottom keep wall.
A big chunky Immortal is a big deal here. It's going to take a while for those shields to get burned down. Ultimate Evolution is not available, so they have the ability to walk past the Immortal. We don't have Syndragosa here for the engagement from Idioms. Instead, it is Army of the Dead in this game.
And it was popped during the earlier fight. That was the only ult that was picked up in advance. It was used to keep himself up for a couple of extra seconds. The Immortal does go down, not getting, well, just barely getting through keep wall, but this is going to be the real Ultimate Mosh Pit rotating into the top lane to try and defend their fort, but very much in vain.
Yep, 2 forts down to 1 now, favoring You're Not Alone, and they have taken the map control of this game. They've taken, dare I say, the momentum of this game and this series, and yeah, it's gonna be on Real Ultimate Mosh Pit to kind of grind it out and find the success they found in Game 1 to be able to go ahead and work their way back into this game with late game team fights.
Yeah, it looks like we have the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit striking this bottom fort, or this bottom mercenary camp, but JOHANNA's now in the top lane, and this is kind of what they've been doing all series. When they suspect that their opponent is somewhere, be somewhere else and do it faster.
Yeah, they always draft good auto-attack siege damage, so they can just constantly apply a lot of pressure to the lane they're in, and they don't get a lot every time. They only got the tower there, but nonetheless, next time it's the tower and the gate, and the next time it's most of a keep or the well. Something like that. It makes it so the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit cannot push with their with the camps they get. So it's a good strategy for, you know, throwing your opponents off guard and just keeping them where you want them to be.
And it always lets them set the tempo, which is important because it means that the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit are always responding to what JOHANNA are doing. And when they're having to respond, it means that they can't get a positive advantage. They reset to neutral, to borrow terms from Smash.
I hear that too much from people saying Smash terms. Oh, big engage on a Fizz. He isn't going to receive an Ancestral, though, as it was not necessary. HANZO arrow blocked by the Greymane clone, and that's going to be a disengage from both teams. But, JOHANNA, I feel like they got the better end of that, at least in the old economy.
Yeah, they're down Clone, which is pretty big, but they still have Mosh, which isn't getting enough time to get used on. It does, however, get used there and hits out onto 2 members, splitting off the rest of the members as well. Malankia in a bit of a rough spot, getting chased down by Wipeout, but that is going to be the 3rd kill going over in favor of You Are Not Alone, followed quickly by a 4th, and there's not a whole lot that the Real Ultimate Mosh Pit have been able to find in this game.
No, they keep fighting down talent tiers. Their first Immortal was down 9v10. This Immortal was down 13v or 12v13. I feel like their composure's a little cracked or something. They've got to be patient and wait for the fights to come to them. The Ancestral is just eating alive their first engagement opportunities. They've got to use their poke and just calm themselves down a little bit. But, I mean, is their window closing? This is a full health, full shield Immortal pushing into top keep. And Abathur and Samuro look like they're kind of ready to take bottom keep too.
I have to call out the ban onto WHITEMANE. Malankia for 4 games now has been able to survive being engaged upon by Q and then Alt-R, and it's been working really well for them. Ana does not have that privilege, and is having to play really far back, is getting split away from the rest of her team, and sometimes just getting jumped upon and killed. And so the really smart ban coming out from the side of You Are Not Alone, as they actually drop the Mule. I don't think that's a Mana Mule. I think that's just a soak damage. Idiom's coming in with the Nano Boost, trying to deal some damage. Majesty is pretty far in there. Is getting slowed pretty hard by Idioms, and I think is going to get rooted as well. Might go down here.
Oh,
that was a clone.
Yeah, it's a clone. I thought so.
Wipeout is actually in the bottom lane, pushing with Abathur, as they do lose the keep in the top lane. Idioms tries for the root, but is able to D out of there. Idiom's in a pretty rough spot now with a big sleep coming up, followed by the huge Hanzo arrow. The counter engage coming up from the real ultimate mosh pit is really strong here. They attempted the regular mosh pit, but it did get interrupted, put on a short cooldown. Counter kill comes out onto Li-Ming and Arthas, followed by another kill out onto Hanzo, and Dextrum and Alankia, the only ones left alive. Got the GGs coming up from the real ultimate mosh pit, and looks like it is all but over for the real ultimate mosh pit. You Are Not Alone completing the reverse sweep, winning game number 5 and the Division B Grand Finalists.
That core finishing down below 5,000 health. Mana Mule definitely for sure this time comes in. Abathur joins the party, and You Are Not Alone has won Division B.
All right. Checking out the numbers. Again, numerically not a particularly impressive game, as it was not a lot of protracted teamfights. It was a lot of very decisive teamfights coming out. That's why the hero damage numbers are relatively low on both sides, and the healing numbers as well. Rhaegar actually out-healing Ana by a very significant margin, however. As, Ana can't heal herself, and when she's the dive target, there's only so much that the empowered level 1 biotic grenades can do for you.
Yep. Yeah, that, so, I want to point out something that we got all the way back before the series started. Said that Ultimate Mosh Pit was played 3 maps. Played Volskaya, played Shrines, they played Tomb. Those 3 maps is where they look good on those maps. Period. They won 2 of them and lost the 3rd one. But they got 1 kill, albeit Game 4 is nonsense. They got 1 kill. Or, they got 4 kills in that game. They got no kills besides the core defense. Let me put that out. They got 0 kills besides the core defense in Game 4. So, once they lost their comfort map pool, I think they lost the ability to win this series. And that's unfortunate for them. They had to win Tomb. But, nonetheless, great breadth of knowledge for having individualized strategies for the maps. For You're Not Alone, they had strats specifically for Sky Temple. They had strats specifically for Battlefield of Eternity. And it showed right there. So, well done to them.
And we should be meeting up with Wipeout in Lobby 1. Sorry, Majesty, actually. We're meeting in Lobby 1, my bad. So we're going to go in there for the post-match interview. Bye,
everyone. Bye.
So congratulations on your successful reverse sweep.
Thank you.
How's the team feeling right now?
Good, real good. It started off a little tense, but we worked it out. Got warmed up a little bit and played our game.
O2 makes you a little tense. Can't believe it.
Yeah.
That was a good set.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so obviously we have already mentioned it. You lost the first 2 games in the series, and the first 2 games you've lost the entire season. How do you come back from that?
Carefully. A lot of it was just like, all right, just reset. We got this. Like, it's fine. Like, we wanted to go to Game 5 anyways, so here we go. Just go ahead and take it to Game 5. And, it was intense.
Yeah, congratulations. So in the first game, Volskaya Foundry, for the first 80 some percentage of the game. It felt like you guys were pretty far ahead. And they were just kind of able to come back and eventually win a late game team fight. And going into game number 2, you actually ended up changing your ban strategy by a decent margin. I believe it was the Chen ban was the first adaptation you picked. Is that do you think that was the right call?
Yeah. So game 1, what we identified as the issues in the game was the level 20 JOHANNA JOHANNA. Shoot, what's the healer name?
WHITEMANE.
WHITEMANE. I don't know why I drew a blank. I just faced her 4 times. The JOHANNA WHITEMANE combo at 20 was intense, but we knew we could handle that because we just didn't want games to go to 20. So the strategy at that point was Chen pre-20 was the issue. So we had to face that. So we got rid of the Chen.
And then they presented you with a new issue in game number 2 in the form of the High Lord, finishing out with 153 sadism. And yeah, that then became your other ban target going forward.
I think we banned him in game 1 too.
That's true. You had him banned in game
Yes,
1,
sure did.
left him up in game 2, and then banned him every game after that, I believe.
Yeah. It wasn't so much that we felt like we couldn't handle ALARAK after game 2. It was just like a lot of the mistakes we made were punished by ALARAK specifically. So we wanted to have that little bit of elbow room back, that we weren't necessarily just losing off of mistakes again.
Yeah, there was definitely a fight over the top objective where you walked into a bush, got pulled, and Discord striked on 3 separate occasions over that one objective fight. And it didn't end up killing you, but it put you into such low health repeatedly that your team just kind of couldn't engage. But one thing I'm really impressed by your team's decision-making is how to know when not to take a fight and what to do instead. Like, every time that You Are Not Alone seems to make the decision, we can't fight over this objective, there's an immediate decision of, so let's go do this instead. How do you build into that kind of a mindset?
A lot of it's to realize that there's certain heroes that push as well or better than objectives when they're given the space to do so. So, when you look for those heroes, a lot of them are like Greymane, Sylvanas. Raynor's pretty good at it too. Some of those other push-oriented heroes like that, and so you can go, all right, well, this objective we're behind a level, or we're a talent tier, or we're down a man, so we're just gonna go and we're gonna get camps, and we're gonna push, or we're just going to get camps, or just gonna push, depending on the amount of time you have. You just have to make that decision. It's a lot of practice and a lot to get used to.
So, as a generality, what did you think of their consistently picking up of the WHITEMANE? Because, especially in the first game, I was rather critical of it because I don't see it very often, and having played it myself, I haven't found it to be more impactful than other heroes that can do similar things. So how did you feel that hero pick for them played out?
I think for them personally, it worked out great. Me and Dank actually, as a warm-up, we both played ARAM together right before the match started, and I played WHITEMANE in it, and then they went in and picked it. WHITEMANE's really good in the late, like, she's a lot like Lucia, where like her late game scaling is just ridiculous. That damage ulti, plus with the way her passive works now, with the ability to activate it for spell damage, in the late game, especially post 20, it does over 100 DPS to everything in it, and then heals for over 100 health per second for anyone with your passive on it, and you just can't really burn through it. It's a very, very good late game healer. Most teams just don't seem to favor it because they want to either get some CC out of their healer or something that can heal a little bit better in the early game.
That's very succinctly describes both reasons why I don't care for her personally. Alright, so games 1 through 3 were reasonably standard coming out of both teams. Tell us about game 3.5.
3.5.
Yeah, it wasn't
It
a
was
full
6
game.
minutes and 50 seconds. It doesn't deserve to be
Our
considered
new-
a full game.
Our new record, our new personal record for fastest game. Not my personal record, my overall personal record, 5:30.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was the old Garden of Terror. We got the Terror and we just pushed out mid lane and they tried to base race the Terror for some reason.
Big thunk.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, so that game, we went in, we got the Abathur, which is what we wanted. Abathur's just great. It's a lot of fun. And then they went to this double support Sylvanas thing, and we were like, all right, they might try to cheese bot, or they might not, so we'll throw our people in the middle of bot and mid, and if they try to cheese bot, we're already there to respawn. If they just go for vision, it's fine. Abathur's in the top lane, he can hold that lane until we have time to rotate up there, and maybe we can cheese using Rhaegar Totem. And then they went into top lane, so I just dug bot, but I dug to where my locusts were going to be able to help push a lot faster, and then we used the totem, and we were able to base race because we knew we had better race with the Sonya Greymane. Like, there's not many heroes that can race the Greymane in a boss race, or a base race, let alone also with a Sonya and Abathur hat. And then the Abathur hat was able to grab XP from other lanes as well, and so we were able to get ahead in XP pretty quick. And if you look at the stats at the end of that, Abathur ended up with 2k more XP soak than anyone else because of the ability just to soak across the map. Like, even if there were 5 of them there, a quick hat on a minion, able to grab all the XP from the wave that had died already, and then they kill it, and then you're able to hat another lane. And then you can last hit with mines and stuff, and Abathur's just really good. And then when they came top, we scouted it out with Abathur mines there as well when they came for that keep at the end there. So we just called boss, because we had the ability to rush it. Played around Gus a little bit, even though he didn't show up with it. And then we just had ETC back. We had Mule stalling it. We had Hat stalling it. We put down mines to try to hit the wave before it can show up. And yeah, it was just once we had the boss, they started backing off. We're like, all right, they're coming to defense, so get ready to leave. We'll have to go do something else. And then they turned around at the last second. Well, ETC was still there cleaning up the minion wave. And they're like, wait, they're still here, but we have stage dive, so he's fine to stay. And it's like, as soon as the keep's down, I guess I just clone Greymane, we just end. And so that's what we ended up doing.
Okay,
And that's the whole game play by play.
Yeah, literally the whole game, if anyone didn't see it. That description was about half as long as the game itself, so... but yeah, so it sounds like it was a mix of having a lot of options and at the time decision making. It wasn't, yeah, we're just going to go into this game and race down buildings, but that happened to be the correct decision that you made at the time.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then finally going into game number 5. At first, it seemed like things might have ended up going really well for your opponents in the drafting phase because it looked a lot like their earlier drafts going in with the JOHANNA HANZO immediately. But then it kind of morphed over the course of the rest of their game, and your draft looked very different than most of your other drafts, partially because of the Abathur, partially because of the Samuro. And I don't want to ask the baiting question of how you feel about that because obviously it's an amazing combo. But it's the only time y'all actually ended up pulling out the Samuro in this series. Is that what's the reason for keeping that until the final match?
Wipeout actually going into the series said he didn't want to play it at all. He hadn't been playing it a whole lot recently. He wasn't feeling a whole lot comfortable on it. And then in going into game 3, Fizz wanted to play Dahaka, main tank Dahaka. And we ended up on BOE, and we're like, well, we can't, that doesn't really work. This is a map that's a viable thing to try out. So they convinced him to instead run the Samuro. We like the Sam Abba on that map, especially. We've played it on a couple other maps, but we kind of like it there more so than anything. And it's something we've actually stolen from BMed. The first time we ever ran that, he was subbing in for a scrim, and we ran it there. And then we made Wipeout learn to play Samuro because of it. And we've just kind of adapted that into our playstyle as one of those back pocket strats that we can pull out.
And BMed's actually cheering for y'all in Twitch chat right now. I'm sure that in 45 seconds he's just going to be tickled pink to hear that from you.
I think he knows. He knows this. I mean, they went back and forth and discussed it a lot while he was learning it.
So I think that's about it for questions that I have. Ace, do you have anything else?
No, not particularly. I'm good at this point. There's a lot of games. It was a great series to watch overall, and just want to give a congrats.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to give it on to you then for any shout-outs that you want to give to all of your 23 adoring fans in the Twitch chat.
I have 51.
Yeah, I see 51.
My phone hasn't updated in a while, so that's probably just wrong.
The peak I saw was 86.
Probably just after the raid.
It was. Which they peaked at like 98 at one point, I saw.
They're over 100.
Wow.
Were they? I'm not surprised. Anyways, for shout-outs, shout out to Lily, of course, our #1 fan, and then shout out to Mega Muffin. Been there since the beginning as well. Always cheering on. I'm excited to go back and read all of Mega's chat comments.
There's a lot.
They're always hilarious. We always tease wipe about them. Shout out to all of Division B West for allowing us to be their representatives here in the grand finals. We hope we did you proud.
Allowing.
We tried our best not to, but you definitely deserved it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, shout out to all of you guys in West for picking us to be your representatives.
Election by force.
Shout out to Saltscale Mrgles. I'll call them by their official name. It was a great set. It was good. We'll probably see them in Div A as well next season if they stay together with that roster. And if we get bumped to A, who knows? Maybe they'll let us stay in B.
As someone on the placement committee, I find that extremely unlikely. But it depends who signs up for next season.
Can we drop to D? I got a lot of friends in Division D.
Sure, but you can't play with a monitor.
Yeah.
All right.
Your whole team has to play with no keyboard.
I thought about going to a mouse with enough buttons on it to just only have to use the mouse.
That'd be wild.
Yeah, you just get enough buttons on the side for your thumb to hit all your abilities. Play one-handed.
That was actually... I knew a couple people that did that when playing World of Warcraft raiding back in the day.
That's a lot of buttons on the side.
It really was.
You're just attaching your mouse to the keyboard and moving the keyboard at that point.
You just have a keyboard with wheels. All right. Well, thank you for joining us for this final interview of NGS Season 8.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Alrighty. Thanks for joining us. And
Thank you.
Back to the casting bunker.
Good luck in probably Div A.
Yeah. I'm excited to watch the replay.
For sure, for sure.
All right.
Alrighty.
All right, and we are back, just the two of us, as has been for basically the whole season.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for coming by. We choose Yana. We all chose Yana, and even more importantly, Yana chose us.
Accurate. Yeah, but this is the end of Season 8, Ectar. We actually are closing Season 8 right here.
Yep, there will be a post-season mead hall coming up at a time that I don't know if we've
we know the
yet.
time. It's soon, trademark.
Oh, thank goodness. So definitely come around for the mead hall. We've got some things that we're going to be announcing, some things that, maybe teams like Yana would be excited to find out about, not wanting to give anything too much away. Plus, we're going to be releasing the dates for NGS Season 9, which I don't think it is spoiling anything to say is confirmed to be happening.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Guitar shot.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think that's about it.
That is about it. I think Season 8, pretty great season overall. I actually had a good time this season. It's a good season.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the better seasons that I think we've had for NGS as a whole.
Yep. So thanks everybody who's made content, who's casted, who's just shown up, been a part of the league, watched the league, cheered on the people. Anybody who's done anything, this league has been instrumental in helping it grow and develop and continue on in the absence of any true organized scene from the Blizzard. So really appreciate all of you. Big hearts to everybody in the community of NGS. We keep NA HOTS going on strong.
Yep. And as the stream is ending, and we've got that whole 60-second delay thing, we're going to be starting the raid on over to our very own caster, Slexia. And we're going to be cutting off the end part of this stream. And you know what? I'm just kind of okay with that. So everyone get in on board the raid train. We've got 14 viewers in there already. You guys are such excellent people. And yeah, we're not going to be waiting too long. We're going to be getting the raid going right about now. Thank you everyone for coming by. You're probably not going to hear this because of the way that the raid cuts people off at the end, but that's okay. Have a good night, everyone, and we'll see you in Season 9.
Don't go quite yet.